Chapter 1462. I'm saved, this venerable is saved. Hearing the voice, hope rose in P.M.O. immortal venerable's eyes. Wind, rain, palaces, people came. As long as they came, he would not have to worry about being taken away. P.M.O. immortal venerable did not believe that Dtion's people would not give him face. They would definitely let him go today. What are you shouting for? Just as P.M.O. immortal venerable shouted, he was hit by an iron fist. Even his powerful immortal venerable body could not withstand the power of this fist. You are finished. Do you know who came? Wind, rain, palaces, people. P.M.O. immortal venerable laughed sinisterly. Your master Dtion has offended almost all the forces in the universe. If you dare to offend Wind, Rain, Palace, your days will not be good. P.M.O. immortal venerable threatened them, but unfortunately he threatened the wrong person. The 12 generals were arrogant to begin with. They were not threatened at all. P.M.O. immortal venerable was simply asking for trouble. He was beaten until his bones were about to fall apart. He no longer dared to speak, but his eyes were filled with resentment. Not long later, a few people arrived in the sky. The leader was a black-robed immortal venerable. He appeared in a swagger. Seeing P.M.O. immortal venerable who was being stepped on, his eyes flashed with disdain. This P.M.O. immortal venerable is too useless. Dtion's people are quite capable, occupying so much time in such a short time. They are quite courageous. The universe was very big. Dtion's actions were spread. Devouring small worlds was something that no one dared to do before. But this time around, Dtion acted in a thunderous manner, consecutively conquering minor worlds. Most probably, it wouldn't be long before another mid-tier world would appear, and it would be one of the bigger ones. Lord Windfire, save me. Seeing the person who came, P.M.O. immortal venerable shouted. He could not help it. The person who came was Wind, Rain, Palaces, Windfire immortal venerable. A very powerful person. He had a certain authority in Wind, Rain, Palace. You are Dtion's people. You are quite courageous. You even dare to capture my people. Windfire immortal venerable shouted angrily. Before I get angry, release P.M.O. immortal venerable and go to Wind, Rain, Palace. Immortal venerable Windfire had long heard of these 12 immortal venerables. When he saw them, he scanned them with his spiritual sense and heaved a sigh of relief. It turned out that they were just low-level immortal reverence. The only thing he didn't understand was that they were giving off a strong aura of hostility. Your Wind, Rain, Palace is pretty arrogant. You're just a peak intermediate immortal venerable. Baomie's eyes flickered with cold light. Believe it or not, I'll kill you right away. Immortal venerable P.M.O. sneered inwardly. These fellows were finished. They actually dared to go against immortal Reverend Windfire. P.M.O. immortal venerable couldn't wait for them to fight Windfire immortal venerable. One of the 2 palaces, Wind, Rain, Palace, wasn't so easy to deal with. Senior immortal Windfire was furious. Right now, the 2 palaces were still the strongest forces. Although Dtion had a considerable force, it was nothing in front of the Wind and Rain Palace. As long as the Wind and Rain Palace sent a high-level immortal venerable, they would be able to suppress all of Dtion's forces. Good, you guys have guts. Senior immortal Windfire had long heard that Dtion was very arrogant. Now, it seemed that his subordinates were the same. They all looked down on everyone. Did they really think that they were just an ordinary, intermediate, immortal venerable? Then I'll take you down personally. Let's see what your master, Dtion, has to say. Senior immortal Windfire didn't hold back and prepared to capture the 12 immortal venerables. During this period of time, Dtion had been too arrogant. Swoosh, a great world descended, turning the area within billions of li into a country. This is the myriad Luo, a heavenly country that I cultivate. Accept your fate. Senior immortal Windfire stood on the throne of the heavenly country, surrounded by hundreds of millions of immortal powerhouses. Swoosh, a dense army of immortals, surged towards them. The divine abilities and secret techniques that filled the sky didn't stop. In an instant, they were drowned in attacks. Kill! The 12 immortal venerables turned into black shadows. Senior Pa-Mo finally regained his freedom. He broke free and came before Senior Immortal Windfire. He cupped his fists and said, "Thank you for holding back, Your Excellency. Tian is too ambitious. If it weren't for you, my sunset world would be finished." Senior Immortal Windfire also knew that talking about Senior Pa-Mo at this time would increase his strength. He had to be kind and take him in. Tian has gone too far. I'll help you vent your anger. In the great Luo world, the 12 generals went on a killing spree. Every time they attacked, they killed a large number of immortals. Even so, they couldn't stop the dense army of immortals. Subordinates of Tian just admit defeat. Senior Immortal Windfire waved his hand again. A group of immortal emperors appeared beside him and attacked again. "You won't have any chance in my world." Senior Immortal Windfire was disdainful of these brute force fellows. This was a sovereign grade cultivation method. The number of people who cultivated in this world could be counted on one hand. Watch how this old man explodes in this broken world. Along with exploding destruction's shout, the scattered immortal venerables gathered together. An even more terrifying aura soared into the sky. The moment this tyrannical aura appeared, a large number of immortals were destroyed. Open! The huge phantom clawed, and the entire world trembled. Bang! Bang! Wherever it went, there would be no more immortal armies left unscathed. The entire world would be wiped clean by that single grab. What bullshit world is this? It's just a pile of trash. The phantom clawed again. This time, Senior Immortal Windfire's eyes widened. A golden lotus appeared and blocked in front of him. The phantom clawed again, and the golden lotus was repelled. Advanced Immortal Venerables. How is this possible? More than half of the golden lotus that was repelled caved in. Senior Immortal Windfire felt heartache. He couldn't stop the phantom claw again. He kept retreating and grabbed Senior Pa-Mo and threw him forward. Crack! Senior Pa-Mo didn't even have time to react and was crushed. "Weren't you very arrogant just now?" Hua! 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 A large number of phantom claws attacked from all directions. Not good. Senior Immortal Windfire coughed out blood. The great overarching heaven was also broken. Impossible. You guys only have low-level Immortal Venerables' battle strength. Senior Immortal Windfire coughed out blood. His immortal armor was also broken. That's because you are ignorant. The phantom clawed again, and Senior Immortal Windfire saw a large hole in his chest. Then he saw a ruthless man appear in front of him and slap him. Wind Rain Palace, hee. Senior Immortal Finyu smashed into a palace. This guy came looking for trouble. Capture him. A cold voice came. Senior Immortal Windfire found himself in someone else's hand. A terrifying power entered his body. 12 different powers sealed his power. I'm an immortal venerate of Wind Rain Palace. How dare you? Chapter 1463. Iron Blood Alliance was finished. Demon-breaking Immortal Venerable was also captured. Windfire Immortal Venerable of Wind Rain Palace was also captured. The 12 Immortal Venerables under Tian were terrifyingly powerful. Their fame had spread throughout the myriad worlds. After losing Iron Blood Alliance and Demon-breaking Immortal Venerable, this small world had completely fallen. When this news came out, the entire universe was shocked once again. No one thought much of the former. Now that the myriad worlds were in chaos, it was possible to devour small worlds as long as one had the strength. Moreover, they didn't care about small worlds as it didn't affect their benefits. There was no need to fight a brute like Tian. It could only be said that Tian's methods weren't ordinary. But one of Wind Rain Palace's immortal venerables was captured. This was a big matter. Everyone thought about how Immortal Court and Great Sex had suffered great losses in Dtion's hands. Now that one of the two palaces, Wind Rain Palace, had also suffered losses, it wasn't too shocking. However, many forces shook their heads after learning about this. This Dtion was courting death. Not only did he offend Immortal Court and Great Sex, he also offended Wind Rain Palace. This Dtion's troubles weren't ordinary. A few days ago, the immortal venerables of the Great Sex and Immortal Court disappeared from Great Metropolis Heaven without a trace. Thinking about this matter, Wind Rain Palace could only swallow their anger. Before figuring out what happened to those people, no one would find trouble with Dtion. Moreover, Dtion already had more than 20 immortal venerables. To deal with such a person, no matter which force, they needed to think carefully. Once they made a move, they would have to pay a huge price. No one would do such a thing where both sides would suffer. Even high-level immortal venerables were needed to deal with Dtion. Everyone knew about Wind Fire Immortal Venerable's fame. He cultivated the ruler's secret art of great overarching heaven and earth. He could deal with any mid-stage immortal venerable. After losing control, Great Metropolis Heaven devoured everything again. Its area kept expanding and gradually became the largest world in the vicinity. Those small forces directly surrendered after seeing Demon breaking immortal venerable fall. They handed over the world core and became a part of Great Metropolis Heaven. In just a year, it devoured all the worlds that were originally managed by Iron Blood Alliance, becoming a rising star in the myriad worlds. Wind Rain Palace's people didn't make a move. They only condemned Dtion's immoral behavior and urged everyone to love peace. Privately, he sent messengers to the Great Metropolis world. After spending a large sum of money, he managed to redeem the man. The battle strength of a high-level immortal venerable. This news caused quite a stir in the Wind Rain Palace. In the main hall of the Wind and Rain Palace, Immortal Windfire's expression was unsightly to behold. He cursed Dtion 10,000 times. His illustrious reputation was ruined in Dtion's hands. Especially now, he had nothing on him. Everything was snatched away by those bandits. You're saying that Dtion already has a high-level immortal venerable under him? The high-level immortal venerables of the Wind and Rain Palace were gathered in the palace. Everyone frowned when they heard Windfire Immortal Venerable's words. They had to pay attention to a high-level immortal venerable. No matter how many low-level and mid-level immortal venerables there were, if they didn't cultivate a sovereign-grade cultivation technique, they wouldn't be able to do anything. They just needed to send a high-level immortal venerable to solve everything. If the Great Metropolis Heaven had a high-level immortal reverend, he would have to be even more careful when dealing with them. They should be proficient in a battle formation. Moreover, it should be a very terrifying battle formation. When the 12 of them unleashed it and broke through to high-level immortal venerable's battle strength, my great overarching heaven couldn't trap them and was broken. Immortal Venerable Windfire said helplessly, this was a very depressing matter. If it wasn't for them unleashing the battle strength of a high-level immortal venerable, he wouldn't have lost so miserably. He would soon become a laughing stock. Just look at the expressions of the higher-ups. Is there such a battle formation? Unbelievable. How can there be such a battle formation in the myriad worlds? Instantly raising the battle strength of a low-level immortal venerable to a high-level immortal venerable. Even the immortal court might not have such a top-notch cultivation technique. If it's possible, we'd better get our hands on this cultivation technique. This must be a sovereign-grade cultivation technique. The people of the Wind and Rain Palace were completely shocked. Everyone knew immortal, venerable Windfire's strength. Once he unleashed his great overarching heaven, he would be invincible in the heavenly kingdom. Yet he lost so miserably. How to deal with Dtion had become a headache for the Wind and Rain Palace. For example, the Wind and Rain Palace didn't dare to act recklessly and could only let Di Tian continue like this. However, while the Wind and Rain Palace was hyping up the matter, another world came to the myriad worlds, and a piece of news that stunned everyone. Want an immortal king, immortal beast? Then come to the great metropolis world. Want an immortal emperor, immortal beast? Then come to the great metropolis world. This news quickly spread like wildfire until one day, a group of first step immortal emperor level immortal beasts were brought out in a grandiose manner. They exuded the aura of immortal emperor level immortal beasts, causing everyone to be shocked. This shocked everyone. After the shock, it was followed by jealousy and envy. Everyone couldn't sit still. Now that the myriad worlds were in chaos, who didn't want to have another battle strength by their side? When the news spread, everyone ran over. Everyone saw the 99 immortal king, immortal beasts in the sunset world. This time, they could finally get what they wanted. Master, is this appropriate? Immortal Venerable Demon Ceiling said with some apprehension. What's wrong with that? If anyone dares to cause trouble, we won't let them off easily. We'll kill them all. The leader of the 12 generals said coldly. Ever since Bao Mia captured Wind Fire Immortal Venerable, he was fighting against an ordinary high-level Immortal Venerable. Demon Venerable didn't dare to underestimate him. Now both sides were competing. At the same time, they were glad that they had chosen to follow their master. Otherwise, they would be terrified if they had to fight their master in the future. They would offend anyone but their master. Didn't they see that the immortal court and the immortal sex had suffered losses because of their master? Stop arguing. Lin Fei's words made them stop. Our great metropolis heaven is no longer a minor world. Blindly using force isn't a good thing. Therefore, I'll take out the immortal king and immortal beast to show them that offending me will not end well. As for those who have other motives, they don't have to worry. Unless a sovereign makes a move, no one will be able to do anything to us. Lin Fei thought about it for a while. They had used force. Then it was time to use treasures. Chapter 1464. Under the starry sky that led to the great celestial world. Now it suddenly became lively. Everyone was heading to the great celestial world. You're going to the great celestial world too. How can I not go? That Di Tian is too amazing. He's really amazing. If possible, I want to buy a few more immortal beasts to create a cavalry of immortal beasts. Almost everyone said the same thing under the starry sky. The great celestial world had been quite active recently. First, it devoured the surrounding worlds, raising the great celestial world to a middle-grade world. Then, it launched an immortal beast auction. This was not something that ordinary people dared to do. However, Di Tian did it, and everyone in the great celestial world knew about it. The great celestial world was not small now. The original territory of the Iron Blood Alliance was gone, replaced by the great celestial world. These small worlds were all swept clean. Without the Iron Blood Alliance's immortal venerable breaking demon, the forces fell apart. With the 12 war generals in hand, no one could stop them. Even the immortal venerable of the Storm Palace was captured. The great celestial world easily devoured the other small worlds. When there was not a single world left, Lin Fei stopped and did not let it continue to devour. Now it was stabilizing and digesting. After devouring so many worlds, the people living here became stronger again. Although they were not full of talents, they were not far away. All kinds of geniuses appeared. When the worlds merged, there would be essence fusing into the world. There was also something like luck. It was illusory, but once it was added to one's body, experts would naturally appear. Is this the great celestial world? The group entered the great celestial world. The immortal chi of heaven and earth is much denser. This Di Tian is quite capable, but he can only devour a few small worlds. If he dares to devour a middle-grade world, I'm afraid it won't be so easy. A young man with knife-like eyebrows was surrounded by a group of people, exuding boundless arrogance. The people behind him echoed one by one. There aren't many high-grade immortal beasts in our great celestial world, but so many immortal beasts appeared in Tion's hands. We can go and investigate. The young man waved his hand, and everyone disappeared into the sky. Young Miss Liu, this Tion's tone is not small. Is he planning to compete with our heavenly fortune building? An invincible warship was sailing through the starry sky. The banner of the heavenly fortune pavilion hung high up in the sky. No one dared to make a move against it. Once they saw this name, they would run away without a trace. On the deck of the warship, a golden-haired youth revealed a look of disdain as he spoke to the black-clothed woman beside him. If he has the ability to do business, that's Tion's business. This is a matter of course. What business is there to compete for? A hint of disgust flashed across the black-clothed woman's beautiful eyes, but she perfectly concealed it. The golden-haired young man coldly snorted. Right now, the myriad of worlds are not peaceful. Since Tion dares to make such a big fuss and even auction off a powerful immortal beast, I'm afraid that it will attract the attention of countless people. This young master wants to see what ability Tion has to face them. The woman in black had a worried look in her eyes. The blond young man standing next to him was not an ordinary person, but someone with a considerable background. In the world of greater heaven, within the invincible palace, a large number of Senfu residences appeared. This area was specially for foreign immortals to rest. Many immortals came to this area and saw towering trees erected near the invincible palace. There were at least a few thousand of them, and they were stunned by the sight. When they scanned the trees with their divine senses, they did not see any changes. They were just ordinary. No one paid much attention to them. In less than a few days, over 1,000 immortals were living near the invincible palace. There were also people living in places further away. They brought their own senfu with them, and they could stay as long as the senfu was released. It was simple and convenient. At this time, the world of greater heaven was not a small world. The immortals who came here did not dare to violate the rules here. Immortal supremacies were not to be trifled with. If they made a move, they might be instantly killed by immortal supremacies. There were already rumors that there were more than 20 immortal supremacies in the world of greater heaven. Immortal supremacies were a major power in the myriad of worlds. Few people could compare to them. Naturally, everyone here behaved themselves. These days went on, until the day before the auction was about to begin. A large number of powers came together. When these powers appeared, the experts of greater heaven were shocked. This was because the powers that came were the top ones, and they did not seem to have good intentions. Otherwise, they would not have appeared at this time. Reporting immortal supremacy Qing and of the immortal sect brings people to greet realm Lord Tion. Reporting immortal supremacy Ju and of the immortal court brings people to greet realm Lord Tion. Reporting immortal supremacy Luo Sha of the Dark Soul Palace brings people to greet realm Lord Tion. Reporting immortal supremacy Ming Qiu of the Demon Ceiling Palace brings people to greet realm Lord Tion. Reporting immortal supremacy Yiming of the Light Palace brings people to greet realm Lord Tion. Lin Fei, who is sitting on the throne, gently tapped his fingers on the throne. The corners of his mouth curled up, revealing a smile. They're finally here. Are they trying to show me who's boss? Lin Fei naturally knew why these powers came together. It was because they treated him as a fat piece of meat and were ready to take a bite out of him. Through the information obtained from the harvest, Lin Fei already knew the identity and status of these people like the back of his hand. Not to mention others, let's talk about the Dark Soul Palace, Demon Ceiling Palace, and Light Palace. These 3 palaces were the 3 strongest powers under the 2 palaces. Their influence covered the entire universe. This time, the 3 palaces came together. In fact, it was because of the small world that was being devoured. There were some benefits involved in this. Lin Fei was indeed a little surprised that they could come. However, the people from the 2 palaces did not come. He did not know if they were on the way or if they chose not to come. After all, the Storm Palace had just suffered a loss in his hands and was extorted a large number of treasures. It was enough to make them vomit blood. 5 powers came to visit me at once. If I don't see them, I'm afraid they will say that I'm afraid of them. Lin Fei ordered people to prepare the banquet. These were all rich people. A small banquet like this had to be arranged properly. Otherwise, they would say that he was a stingy realm lord. He had to give them some face. The people from the 5 top powers came one after another. Everyone has come from afar. I have already ordered people to prepare the banquet. Please take a seat. Invincible Palace's main palace. This place had already been decorated. The table was filled with wine and immortal fruits. The people from the 5 top powers walked in front of the immortal court. Behind them were the great sections. They looked at Lin Fei with unfriendly gazes. Lin Fei was speechless. I don't think I owe you money. Didn't I just extort some treasures? Is there a need to be like this? Can't people be more generous? Whether it was the immortal court or the great sex, they looked at Di Tian with ugly expressions. The 2 powers sat down on the left and right. The people from the 3 palaces also sat down on the seats below. Chapter 1465. The 5 major forces didn't just come to visit Di Tian. After all, the current Di Tian was no longer a small figure. He could be considered a major character in the myriad worlds. He had more than 20 immortal venerables under him, including mid-stage immortal venerables. They possessed great battle prowess that could sweep through many great worlds. Apart from that, there was another secret that they hadn't figured out. The powerhouses sent by the Immortal Lyceum and the Immortal Sex had yet to be found. Other than one of their natal tokens that was broken, the rest were intact. Where did these people go? They had always wanted to figure it out. Di Tian became the target of suspicion. It was possible that these people were in Di Tian's hands. This also proved that there was a great expert behind Di Tian. As for who this great expert was, everyone wanted to know. Today, they came to probe and understand. They happened to meet the people from the Immortal Sex, so the Immortal Lyceum and the Immortal Sex temporarily put aside their grudges. Everyone has come from afar. My great metropolis world is also honored by your presence. Let me toast to everyone. Di Tian raised his wine cup. Everyone had to give him face. After drinking the wine, Lin Fei called over the singers and put on a song and dance show. One had to say when the fairies and singers performed, it was extremely wonderful. At the very least, Lin Fei watched with great interest. From the start of cultivation until now, Lin Fei hadn't carefully watched the performances of the singers. He had been wholeheartedly cultivating. Now that he had some experts on hand, he finally didn't have to work so hard. Lin Fei watched with great interest. But for the 5 major forces, watching the performances of the singers was clearly not their main purpose. Immortal Paragon Ju, and also realized that this Di Tian wasn't easy to deal with. He was indeed as overbearing as the rumors said. No wonder the people of the Immortal Lyceum were so angry at him. Taoist Di Tian, I heard that you are auctioning immortal beasts this time, and they are immortal beasts of different levels? I wonder if we can have the honor to see them? Immortal Paragon Ju and suggestion was exactly what they wanted. Immortal Paragon Qing and from the Immortal Sex also said, our Immortal Sex are very interested in cooperating with Taoist Di Tian. If possible, we also want to see these immortal beasts. Look at my immortal beasts. You have quite a big appetite. This must be one of your goals. Last time, Lin Fei asked people to drag a group of immortal beasts out for a stroll. An entire universe was completely stirred up. No matter who it was, they would be tempted. This was a good target to raise their battle prowess. No problem. Lin Fei readily agreed. Both immortal venerable Ju and an immortal venerable Qing and were stunned. Since when did Di Tian become so easy to talk to? Everyone follow me. Dition asked the songstress fairy maiden to disperse. With a wave of his hand, a path appeared, and he was the first to walk in. The people here were all very gutsy. They weren't afraid that Dition would do anything. They followed along, and in the blink of an eye, they arrived at one of the levels of the world overlord's training grounds. Roar, 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 roar. The immortal beasts were fixed in one area in such a huge training ground. The number of them was so dense that everyone was dumbfounded. Even the two immortal venerables of the immortal court and the immortal sex were shocked at this moment. So many immortal beasts. Could it be that Dition had swept through the entire universe? Otherwise, where would they find so many worlds? Immortal king level immortal beasts and immortal emperor level immortal beasts. The battle strength of these two types of immortal beasts couldn't be ignored. If an immortal king level immortal had an immortal king level immortal beast, their strength would increase greatly, and they could even fight against an immortal emperor level powerhouse. Lord, look over there. Isn't that the rumored meteor Pegasus that can break through the limit of heavenly law? A subordinate of the Dark Soul Palace hurriedly said to Lord Luo Sha. After hearing his subordinate's words, immortal venerable Luo Sha noticed the meteor Pegasus leisurely flying in an area in the distance like meteors. There are so many meteor Pegasus. Did Dition rob the entire meteor Pegasus race? The number of immortal beasts was shocking, but meteor Pegasus with such speed were extremely rare in the entire universe. Each of them was extremely precious. But now these immortal beasts were like cabbages. Immortal venerable Luo Sha's eyes were filled with jealousy and even a trace of greed. If he occupied this place, the overall strength of the Dark Soul Palace would increase greatly. This thought flashed in immortal, venerable Luo Sha's mind. The Dark Soul Palace was one of the 3 palaces and ranked behind the 2 palaces. If they wanted to swallow Dition's things, they might have to bite their teeth and suffer a great loss. After immortal venerable Luo Sha discovered the meteor Pegasus, the other immortal venerables also discovered the meteor Pegasus. Immortal beasts that could attack were easy to find, but those that were good at speed were not easy to find. These immortal beasts were too rare. Even if they appeared, they would be bought at an extremely high price. By the time everyone reacted, they would have already disappeared. Fellow Taoist Dition, our Demon Sealing Palace is very interested in this meteor Pegasus. If possible, we want all of them. Demon Sealing Palace's immortal venerable Mingqiu was also envious and said directly, Light Palace's one fate immortal, venerable, secretly cursed. This guy got it first. Our Light Palace is also very interested in this. The price is not a problem. It was best to have such a good thing in their hands. If they weren't afraid of Dition's strength, they would have already taken action to plunder it. With so many immortal beasts, who wouldn't be envious? I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint everyone. Lin Fei shook his head. I'm preparing to bid for these immortal beasts at the auction. Whoever offers the highest price can buy them. Demon Sealing Palace's immortal venerable Mingqiu's face sank. Fellow Taoist Dition, are you not going to give us this little face? As long as you sell us, our Demon Sealing Palace will be your best friend from now on. Lin Fei directly despised them in his heart. Best friend? Are these words true? If I didn't have the strength, I'm afraid I would have swallowed everything in one gulp. How could I have the cheek to call myself a friend? Lin Fei wanted them to buy them with their capital, especially the 3 palaces. Their strength was not much different. However, if anyone had these immortal beasts, their strength would rise and they would be able to stand above the 2 palaces. There were even immortal emperor level immortal beasts. Maybe there would be even more powerful immortal, venerable level immortal beasts. Therefore, they wanted to buy immortal beasts in private. They wanted to be one step ahead of others and take the initiative. Lin Fei waved his hand. Demon Sealing Palace's immortal venerable Mingqiu was enveloped by a force. He couldn't resist and was moved out of great metropolis heaven along with his subordinates. In my territory, you have to listen to me. A cold voice echoed under the starry sky. Immortal Venerable Mingqiu was thrown under the starry sky. Coincidentally, someone passed by. He was furious and killed a group of innocent people. His face was gloomy. What a good Ditan. How dare you ignore our demon's sealing palace? Anger was anger. Thinking that the other two palaces were still inside, Immortal Venerable Mingqiu immediately felt uncomfortable. I can't let them have it easy. Lin Fei easily moved Immortal Venerable Mingqiu out of the training ground. Chapter 1466. They all knew how strong Immortal Venerable Mingqiu was. Ditian could take Immortal Venerable Mingqiu away without any resistance. Although Ditian was a realm lord and could borrow the power of the world, it was impossible for him to be this powerful. Killing Immortal Venerable Mingqiu would be a piece of cake. His strength was a little terrifying. One Fate Immortal Venerable of Brilliance Palace was eager for Immortal Venerable Mingqiu to lose his qualification. In the myriad worlds, the three palaces seemed to be together, but they were actually enemies. They often fought for benefits, and many immortals died. One Fate Immortal Venerable was worried about how to strengthen Brilliance Palace. It would be best if Ditian would be hostile to the other two palaces. Demon Sealing Palace's Immortal Venerable Mingqiu's actions undoubtedly helped him. He quickly stabbed Immortal Venerable Mingqiu and increased his hatred. At the very least, he would leave a bad impression. Dark Soul Palace's Venerable Luo Sha was secretly happy. He finally got rid of an enemy and could share less good things with them. Daoist Ditian, those guys from Demon Sealing Palace, are all ambitious wolves. Such people should be treated like this. Otherwise, they will take a yard after taking an inch. Luo Sha also said seriously. He was really happy for a while. The fights between the three halls had not been going on for just 1 or 2 days. Now that one was gone, they could share some of the benefits. Immortal Venerable Qing and an Immortal Venerable drew and glanced at each other. This Ditian was really domineering. He directly kicked them out. That was Demon Sealing Palace. Thinking about it, Ditian wasn't afraid of them, let alone others. Moreover, the guys from Dark Soul Palace and Brilliance Palace weren't good people either. They immediately aimed their guns at them. If Immortal Venerable Mingqiu didn't make a move, it was hard to guarantee that one of them wouldn't be the first to make a move. You two are right. Ditian sneered in his heart. I, Ditian, have been fighting my way up since I ascended. I hate people who threaten me the most. In my territory, I don't want anyone to force me to do something I don't want to do. Otherwise, I don't mind letting him experience my anger and even make him lose his qualification. Luo Sha and One Fate Immortal Venerable glanced at each other, glad that they didn't make a move. On their way here, the higher-ups had already warned them not to act recklessly in the great metropolis heaven. Who knows? Ditian might even be waiting for them to make a move. At that time, he could use them to extort treasures. From the looks of it now, Ditian did indeed have this inclination. Others might not be able to do it, but Ditian could. This guy was already used to it, and it wasn't the first or second time either. Every time he extorted treasures, it would cost him a lot of money. Not long after, they sat outside in the palace again. At this moment, the four powers all had their own ideas on how to obtain the greatest benefits from the auction. However, the question of how to start the conversation was a difficult one. Earlier, when Immortal Paragon Mingqiu threatened Ditian, they could already tell that Ditian wasn't afraid of any threats. If it was during normal times, they wouldn't be bothered. But now there was a supreme expert behind Ditian. This was truly a troublesome matter. These tyrannical immortal beasts might have come from the hands of that peerless expert. Until now, they still couldn't figure out where these immortal beasts came from. If they insisted, they might anger that peerless expert. This wasn't a good thing for them. It might even be a bad thing. The two leaders, Immortal Venerable Ju En and Immortal Venerable Qing En, were also feeling uneasy. To think that a great power actually had to lower their heads. This kind of thing had never happened before. For the sake of so many immortal beasts, they felt that it wasn't unacceptable for them to be wronged temporarily. Their immortal court controlled a large amount of resources, but this wasn't their strong point, especially when they suspected that Dtion might have venerable level immortal beasts. This was the biggest key. This was true combat power. Fourth step immortal emperor immortal beasts were also very powerful, which was what they needed. Sitting on the throne, Lin Fei was in a very good mood. Unfortunately, these people didn't make a move because of this. Now, they had lost a chance to extort treasures. If they knew about this, they would probably curse out loud. Dtion was indeed not a good person. He just wanted to play tricks on them. Taoist Dtion, we have drunk this immortal brew. Regarding the immortal beasts, our immortal court would like to cooperate with Taoist Dtion. Under the condition of not destroying the auction, we are willing to pay a high price to buy a batch of immortal beasts. It would be even better if there are higher-level immortal beasts. Immortal Venerable Jew and didn't believe Dtion's words. Our immortal sex will also pay a high price. Immortal Venerable Qing and didn't want to be left behind. Dark Soul Palace and Radiant Palace couldn't intervene at this moment. The difference in strength between the two was too great. Lin Fei bringing them to see the immortal beasts was actually doing business with them. To Lin Fei, immortal beasts were experience points. They could drop experience stones. In the outside world, they would be in their normal state. Only their combat power was amazing. The rest was nothing special. Lin Fei wanted to create a unique world. Now that the immortal court and the immortal sex were in a state of peace, Lin Fei didn't believe that it would last for a long time. There was still no movement until now. Once these three forces fought, it would definitely be very exciting. Now, Lin Fei would help them speed up the process. If it was before, Lin Fei might not have the guts to do so. But with Hairball, he was immediately full of confidence. His own strength was also increasing rapidly, so he didn't have to worry about being afraid. Selling, that was for sure. How to sell it at a high price was the key. Fellow Taoists, you should know that my place is backward and remote. It's far from the rich resources of those great worlds. Lin Fei complained, listening to the few immortal venerables rolling their eyes. This was the first time they met someone who dared to say such words with so many immortal beasts. This was richer than any other world, and his subordinates were also strong. Even 10 worlds might not be able to compare to the great metropolis world. If they heard what you said, who knows how many people would vomit blood. Lin Fei directly ignored their expressions. These immortal beasts were obtained with great difficulty. If it wasn't for the great metropolis world, I wouldn't have taken them out to auction. Once again, they looked down on him. I can see that everyone wants immortal beasts. I just thought about it. I should be able to share a portion of these immortal beasts. However, the price will be a bit expensive. After all, this is for auction. Lin Fei said unhurriedly, for example, Meteor Heavenly Horse. Each of them can reach the limit of the Heavenly Tao. They are essential items to go out. One of them can be exchanged for 20 immortal equipment. Moreover, they have to be at least middle-grade immortal equipment. The great metropolis world lacked these things. Immortal beasts were free in the evil demon space. Lin Fei naturally wanted to exchange for immortal equipment. Chapter 14, 67. Great metropolis world lacked celestial artifacts. He didn't need to worry about celestial reverent treasures. Just the devil's heart alone could be used to exchange for many celestial reverent treasures. Last time, he extorted some from Celestial Dynasty and had a large amount left. He didn't need them now, as his celestial reverend subordinates all had celestial reverend treasures. Ning Chuan needed a large amount of celestial artifacts this time. Where else could he find a good deal like exchanging celestial beasts for celestial artifacts? Too expensive? Then don't buy it. Lin Fei's meaning was simple. If they wanted celestial beasts, especially high-grade ones that could only use celestial artifacts to exchange for them. Moreover, they had to be intermediate-grade celestial artifacts. I can give you 3 days to consider. This was the time that Lin Fei gave them. Celestial Reverend Zhu and Qing and were invited out. They were enemies with each other, so they scoffed coldly and left. As for what they chose, that was up to them. After Celestial Dynasty and the others left, there were people outside who wanted to greet him. Tianyin Tower? Hearing that Tianyin Tower wanted to greet him, Lin Fei knew that it was Lu Ziyue. He didn't treat this woman, who he had been working with, as an ordinary woman. This was a woman with skills. She came to trade with him right from the start. She was someone with good judgment. Hearing that it was someone from Tianyin Tower, Lin Fei asked people to bring her in. He had to thank Tianyin Tower for the information they gave him during the war. It allowed him to raise his strength and get through the life and death crisis. He even opened the demon space, and his strength increased by leaps and bounds. Even if Lu Ziyue didn't come, Lin Fei would find some time to make a trip. Lu Ziyue was here. This time, Lu Ziyue wasn't the only one who came. This surprised Lin Fei. With a casual glance, he knew that the person who accompanied Lu Ziyue wasn't weak. He was actually a celestial reverend. The most surprising thing was that there was a strong power sealed in his body. The power of the seal was hidden perfectly. If not for his strength constantly increasing, he probably wouldn't be able to sense the existence of the seal. If this power exploded out, it could sweep many celestial reverends and could even deal a fatal blow. This young man's background was not simple. With the chaos of the myriad worlds, it wasn't strange for such a person to appear. During this period, Lin Fei also looked at Lu Ziyue. Previously, he couldn't see through this woman's strength. But now, Lin Fei could see that she had already reached the immortal venerable realm. Fairy Lu, long time no see. Lin Fei sat on the throne and smiled at Lu Ziyue. Lu Ziyue was still dressed in black, but this time she wore a black veil. She was very courteous, long time no see. You've already become a great marquis. It's really hard to believe. With more than 20 celestial reverends under them, of course, this did not include the celestial Reverend Hairball had. In the myriad heavens and myriad worlds, they were already a very powerful force. Di Tian had also become a great duke. In the past, I was tired of working alone. It wasn't easy to control a big world. No matter what, there had to be someone to guard it. I was just lucky. I don't deserve your praise. Ever since news about Di Tian started to spread, Lu Ziyue found it hard to believe. Di Tian's strength improved too quickly. The celestial reverend realm that others found hard to break through was as easy as drinking water in his hands. There were no bottlenecks or problems. He was outrageously monstrous. The important thing was how to make celestial reverends willingly join the great metropolis world. This was what many people wanted to know. Seeing Di Tian again, Lu Ziyue's emotions changed. The current Di Tian already had the qualifications to talk to her father. He was even a true big shot in the myriad heavens and myriad worlds. Di Tian already had the strength to speak. Especially in this immortal beast auction, the famous Tianyin Tower was also suppressed by the great metropolis world. Immortal beasts weren't cabbages that could be harvested just by entering. Every time the Tianyin Tower auctioned immortal beasts, they were scattered. But this time, Di Tian was very generous. The upper echelons of the Tianyin Tower were shocked. Since when could immortal beasts be sold wholesale? The important thing was still the high-grade immortal beasts. Lu Ziyue, who was familiar with them, was sent over. If one's luck was good, one could subdue so many celestial reverends. If one's luck was good, one could have a peerless expert as a backer. Lu Ziyue wouldn't believe it. You are the Di Tian whose name shakes the myriad heavens and myriad worlds. I thought you had 3 heads and 6 arms, but it turns out you are just a bumpkin from the lower realm. Lu Ziyue and Lin Fei were chatting happily, but the young man at the side frowned, appearing very displeased. He directly interrupted the two of them. Lin Fei raised his eyebrows. Who do you think you are to have the qualifications to ask me this? With a group of celestial reverends as his subordinates, Lin Fei gradually became domineering. With a raise of his eyebrows, an invincible pressure instantly enveloped the young man. Ka, 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 under the powerful pressure. The young man's body was almost crushed. Di Tian, you dare to humiliate me. The celestial reverend power in the young man's body erupted. A trace of violent power leaked out, and his eyes instantly turned red. Do you know who I am? At the side, Lu Ziwe's eyes flashed with a trace of brilliance, and she thought to herself, Di Tian's strength has actually reached such a level. Just as pressure can suppress this guy. When this person first came, he defeated many celestial reverends of their Tianyan Tower with a wave of his hand, displaying extraordinary strength, and even the Tianyan Tower was somewhat afraid of him. Lu Ziwe seemed to have let out a sigh of relief. What qualifications do you have to let me know who you are? Boom! Lin Fei suddenly stood up, and his entire aura soared into the sky, as if it had pierced through the starry sky, and an invincible pressure came crashing down on the young man, causing his body to emit cracking sounds. Plop! The young man was pressured into kneeling on the ground with a plop. The main hall seemed to be shaking. I'm going to kill you. I must kill you. The young man's eyes were bloodshot, and his violent aura wanted to blast away this pressure. But this violent aura was really not worth mentioning in front of the towering mountain. Lin Fei's current strength was already starting to approach the combat strength of a ruler. Just the pressure alone was not something that the other party could resist. Fairy Lu, your people don't seem to be very polite, and they don't know how to respect their seniors. So I helped you punish them. You don't mind, right? Lin Fei said with a smile. As for the young man who was pressured into kneeling, he didn't even look at him. Lu Ziwe frowned slightly. Gu Tian, you need to change your character. Don't forget the person in charge this time is me, not you. There was a trace of anger in her words. The young man raised his head, and a cold light shot out from his eyes. Lu Ziwe, don't forget who you are. If not for our support, your father would not have today's status. And now you are actually speaking up for an outsider. Boom, another wave of pressure came. The young man only felt a mountain-like weight, and his whole body was pressed to the ground like a dead dog. He raised his head and saw the person on the throne emitting an invincible pressure. You can scram now. A huge finger flicked over, and the young man was sent flying, smashing through layers of the void, and fell outside the starry sky. Chapter 1469. Gu Tianren's body was shattered by a finger. Under the stars, Gu Tianren's body was wrapped by a mysterious power. Although his body wasn't torn into pieces, he quickly recovered. After recovering his body, Gu Tianren's face was cold. What a good Di Tian, to actually look down on our Gu clan. Gu Tianren had a ferocious look on his face, and a hint of fear flashed in his eyes. The rumors outside say that Lu Ziwe, that bitch, really has an ambiguous relationship with Di Tian. Now it seems that it's true. Before coming, Gu Tianren had already thought of a countermeasure. Who would have thought that he would be flicked out by Di Tian's finger? The other party was ridiculously strong, and he couldn't resist at all. Right now, Gu Tianren really didn't dare to go in. One finger was enough to shatter him. If Di Tian really wanted to kill him, there was an 80 to 90% chance of that happening. He didn't dare to take the risk. Just you wait. Gu Tianren originally wanted to recruit Di Tian, but now he didn't have such a method. Why do you have to do this? You've unknowingly made another powerful enemy for yourself. Lu Ziwe's beautiful eyes under the veil revealed a hint of joy before returning to normal. Her tone carried a trace of helplessness as she didn't want Di Tian to do this. Lin Fei didn't mind. You know my current situation. Since I have so many enemies, I don't care about one or two. This Gu Tianren is quite interesting. Can you tell me where he came from? With his current strength, if Lin Fei wanted that person to die, that person would die without a doubt. Just now, He felt a slight change in Gu Tianren's body. The power of the seal was very mysterious. Gu Tianren should have been shattered by the flick, but now he was indeed wrapped by the power. This was different. If you asked me like this before, I wouldn't have told you. I was afraid that you would be under too much pressure and blame me. Lu Ziyue smiled. Now that you're a great duke, you have the right to know. How many people can kill someone with one finger? How many people can do this? Hearing this, Lin Fei knew that the other party's background wasn't simple. Gu Tianren is from the chaotic ancient country, the person from the chaotic ancient country that disappeared. Lin Fei had read about this in the ancient records. In fact, he had even encountered a chaos giant in the primal chaos. They didn't disappear, they retired. Lu Ziyue nodded. There are people from the primal chaos ancient kingdom behind the Tianyin Tower, and the Gu surname belongs to the noble bloodline of the primal chaos heaven kingdom. What a powerful background! Now that the primal chaos heavens had appeared, Lin Fei didn't find it strange at all. Lin Fei had already guessed this. You've provoked yet another powerful enemy. Lu Ziyue didn't want Ditian to do this from the bottom of her heart. However, even if you don't make a move against Gu Tianren, you probably won't agree to anything that Gu Tianren proposes. Sooner or later, you will offend him. You're not trying to recruit me, are you? From the first day they met, Lin Fei did not like Gu Tianren. You guessed it right. The Gu family of the primal chaos ancient kingdom wants to recruit you to become their subordinate and make the great metropolis heaven their proxy world. Right now, Lin Fei was not afraid of being bitten, especially with the immortal beast auction. He was afraid that all the forces would want to take a bite out of him. Their appetite is not small. Lin Fei sneered. The immortal court, the great sex, and the two palaces don't dare to say such words. A mere Gu family is really not ordinary. Do they really think that I'm so easy to deal with? If I had known earlier, I would have killed a few more times to vent my anger. Lu Ziyue giggled. Gu Tianren coming to see you was really a wrong choice. I also have to thank you. Who knows how many people in our Tianyin Tower hated this guy to the point of gnashing their teeth. Now he finally fell into your hands. Lin Fei's heart moved. If that's the case, I'm afraid that your Lu family's days in the Tianyin Tower won't be good. In the past, the primal chaos ancient kingdom belonged to a superpower in the myriad worlds. They were born in the primal chaos. There were primal chaos gods, primal chaos immortals, and primal chaos divine beasts. Their bodies were tyrannical and terrifying, and they were undying and indestructible. Now that he was walking in the myriad worlds, it was not hard for Lin Fei to think of Lu Ziyue's situation. You don't have to worry about this for now. Lu Ziyue smiled. Our Lu family is not a small power in the Tianyin Tower. We are one of the 10 great elders. If you are worried about me, this little girl will be flattered. Are you worried? Lin Fei asked himself this, but it seemed like he was not. Thinking about it, Lin Fei felt that he was worried about Lu Ziyue, otherwise he would not have asked this kind of thing. He already had a few wives at home, so Lin Fei did not want to provoke any more women. We have cooperated for so long. I am worried that we cannot continue to cooperate. That would not be a small loss. Lin Fei barely found an excuse. Lu Ziyue lightly snorted and said in her heart, "What a hypocritical guy! Our Tianyin Tower does want to have a deep cooperation with you." Lu Ziyue revealed the shrewdness of a merchant. However, before that, I represent my father and want to have a deep cooperation with you. I wonder if you have a secret space here? Lin Fei knew that Lu Ziyue came with a purpose. If he did not make a move to chase Gu Tian away, Lin Fei believed that Lu Ziyue would have a way to propose it. That is not a problem. Lin Fei waved his hand and brought Lu Ziyue into the Realm Lord Stone Pagoda. This is the most tightly guarded place. Other than rulers, no one else can enter this place. The Realm Lord Stone Pagoda is a good place. Lu Ziyue was not surprised at all. "Father, you can come out now." A door opened behind Lu Ziyue. This door is not big, only one person can walk through it. Your Tianyin Tower is rich. You even used a teleportation gate. Lin Fei can recognize that this is a teleportation gate with a glance. It is very expensive, and many disciples will bring a teleportation gate with them when they go out. When they encounter danger, they will return to their own world. The passage of the teleportation gate can only withstand the power of a certain realm. The higher the realm, the higher the price of the teleportation gate, the more expensive the immortal emperor's teleportation gate is. Ordinary people can't afford it. No matter how rich you are, I'm afraid it won't be as big as you. Lu Ziyue replied. Boom! From the door, a black leather boot broke through the world and stepped on the floor of the Realm Lord's stone pagoda. What followed is a tyrannical aura. It is the immortal venerable realm. A middle-aged man emitting an elegant aura finally came out from the door and appeared in front of Lin Fei. The moment the middle-aged man appeared, his gaze stopped on Lin Fei, sizing him up in admiration and cupping his hands. Dao friend Di Fei, I have long heard of your great name. I finally get to meet you today. This is my father, Third Sage Lu. Chapter 1470. This wasn't the first time Third Sage Lu had heard about Di Tian. Now, there wasn't a single person in the myriad of worlds who didn't know about him. He had subdued an immortal reverent expert with mysterious means, and from an unranked small world to a powerful mid-level world. No one would underestimate this Di Tian. Father! Di Tian sent Gu Tianren flying just now, and he even used a single finger to shatter Gu Tianren. His strength is already unfathomable, and even I can't see through his cultivation level. If not for the previous incident, Lu Ziyue might not have reminded him. But now it was completely different. He had to tell his father. Third Sage Lu's heart shook. Gu Tian wasn't too strong. His body was tough, comparable to an immortal venerable beast. Many genius disciples of the Tianyin Tower had been defeated by him, which caused quite a stir. It took a lot of effort to suppress it. With regards to Di Tian, Third Saint Lu's understanding was limited to some information. He only knew that Di Tian was someone who could create a legend. His strength rose like a rocket, and in addition, he had a powerful backer supporting him. He was already standing at the peak of the younger generation. Third Sage Lu's impression of Di Tian improved after hearing his daughter's words. Fellow Taoist Third Sage, you came all the way here. Why don't you sit down and have some tea? Other than rulers, no one else can come here. You don't have to worry about anything being leaked. Lin Fei wasn't in a hurry. He waved his hand and took out a table. He placed some immortal fruits and other things on it. At this level, Lin Fei was already giving Third Sage Lu a lot of face by calling him a fellow Taoist. Not everyone could say the word fellow Taoist, unless you had enough strength. Without strength, you wouldn't even know how you offended someone. The two of them sat down on the table and chatted. Lu Ziyue, who was sitting next to Third Sage Lu, secretly rolled her eyes. It seemed like Di Tian didn't know what was going to happen next. He just didn't want to ask. Lin Fei indeed didn't want to ask why Third Sage Lu had come. They were on a different level now. He didn't have to ask everything. If news of this got out, he would be looked down on. Since Third Sage Lu had a favor to ask of Lin Fei was naturally not in a hurry. He talked about everything and said whatever he wanted to say. Fellow Di Tian, I'm afraid it'll be the era of youngsters like you in the near future. This was the first time Third Sage Lu had met Lin Feng. If it weren't for Third Sage Lu's achievements in the outside world, no one would have believed that the person before them was a terrifying existence. You flatter me. Lin Fei said with a smile, the myriad worlds are so big, and now even the primal chaos ancient kingdoms have come out. The number of young geniuses is even more uncountable. It is still too early to say this. Third Saint Lu saw it clearly. Using the treasure in his hand, Third Sage Lu could see clearly that Di Tian was merely at the immortal venerable realm. There was no dense energy in his body. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to do it if he concealed it perfectly. Third sage Lu could imagine that if Ditian had the opportunity to ascend to become a sovereign, the current sovereigns would have a headache and wouldn't know how to deal with him. It was worth the risk to come here this time. This time I came from afar and even used the teleportation gate because I want to make a deal with fellow Taoist. Third sage Lu was one of the 10 great elders of the Tianyin Tower. No matter where he went, everyone would be polite to him. As long as he revealed a small thought, many people would fight to be the first to do it. But in front of Ditian, third sage Lu didn't dare to do so. Just now, his daughter had already made it very clear that Gutian was forced to kneel on the ground by Ditian because of his arrogant tone. From this, it could be seen that the rumors of Ditian having a bad temper were indeed true. Young people were high-spirited, and who wouldn't have a bit of a temper? Third sage Lu himself was like this in the past. In the future, Ditian would definitely become one of the main characters of the Myriad Worlds, taking the initiative to speak. Third sage Lu didn't have any feelings for him. I am very interested in this deal to be able to invite fellow Taoist here. Lin Fei was speaking the truth. Personally coming here represented a type of respect. It could be seen that this matter wasn't small. I want to buy a batch of experience pills from fellow Taoist. If fellow Taoist allows, I hope to buy as many as possible, third sage Lu said seriously. Lu Ziyue also became nervous, because this matter was too important. They couldn't help but be nervous. Lin Fei thought that it was something important, so it was necessary for him to come here personally. Wouldn't it be fine if Lu Ziyue just told him? However, Lin Fei didn't know the value of the experience pills. The more powerful the Celestial Venerable's secret art, the harder it was to learn it. Moreover, many people wouldn't be able to learn it in their entire lives. Experience pills were different. As long as one had enough experience pills, they would be able to learn it. This was too important. Experience pills aren't a problem. I have cooperated with Fairy Ziyue for so long, and she arranged for the Celestial Emperor to be stationed in the great metropolis world when I wasn't around. I will remember this kindness. If it wasn't for Lu Ziyue's help, the great metropolis world would be in an unknown state. His wife and daughter would also be in trouble. This was what Lin Fei didn't want to see the most. Experience pills didn't really matter to Lin Fei now. This might be a very large batch of experience pills. Lu Ziyue's beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of color. You don't need to worry about that. Taoist Ditian, I want to cultivate a dominator rank secret art. I need a lot of experience pills. Are you sure you have no problem with that? Third sage Lu asked. I'm very curious. What will you use to trade? Now that the demonic space had opened, experience pills were divided into many levels. Explode Extermination, Immortal Sovereign Myriad Evil, and the others were sent to cultivate Dominator rank secret arts. The large amount of experience pills didn't give Lin Fei a headache. Third sage Lu let out a sigh of relief. He had come to the right place. True spirits and the like are no longer of any use to you, fellow Taoist. As for treasures, I'm too embarrassed to take them out. After all, everyone knows that fellow Taoist's body is already the best treasure there is. Apart from sovereign treasures, I'm afraid there's really nothing else that can catch your eye. What third sage Lu said was the truth, something that was publicly acknowledged by all immortals. Lin Fei waited for third sage Lu to say something. Just as Lin Fei had said, he couldn't use any of these things. With the few Dominator rank secret techniques he had, not many people could stop him. There were just too few things that were worth his attention. Lin Fei really wanted to know what third sage Lu could take out. If he really took out a large amount of true spirits, it would only make Lin Fei look down on third sage Lu, and he wouldn't become one of the 10 great elders of the Tianyin Tower. The two palaces are going to establish an emperor dynasty. All of a sudden, third Saint Lu uttered those words. Emperor dynasty? Chapter 1471. P.S. I'm busy these 2 days. Everything will be stable from tomorrow onwards. This is a big deal, Lin Fei muttered in his heart. The myriad heavens and myriad realms were now filled with feudal vassals of all sizes. Although the 2 palaces were the leaders in private, no one gave face to anyone. Establishing an emperor dynasty was indeed not a small matter. Lin Fei couldn't help but admire the intelligence agency of the Tianyan Tower for being able to obtain such important information. What does this have to do with me? Third Sage Lu brought this up to sell a favor. Third Saint Lu almost coughed out blood when he heard this. He treated his words as a waste of time. No wonder there were rumors in the outside world that Di Tian's temper was unpredictable. To establish an emperor dynasty, all of us have to go see the immortal emperor. I'm afraid some people from the 2 palaces will target your great metropolis world. Taoist Di Tian is too angry. Lin Fei didn't care. That's their own business. Since they dare to target my great metropolis world, I'll make sure they suffer. Moreover, the immortal sex and the immortal court aren't pushovers. They won't easily establish an emperor dynasty. Why should I worry about it? Third Sage Lu finally understood what kind of person Di Tian was. This was a guy who was not afraid of anything. This was good. Cooperating with such a person had its benefits. Perhaps in the future, then let's get back to business. I plan to pay for your experience pills with the starstones you need. Apart from that, there's also a treasure that's barely at the Dominator rank. Third Saint Lu took out a storage ring and a golden saber that had its aura sealed and was covered in cracks. The Heavenly Starstone was not essential to Lin Fei right now. Lin Fei was very interested in the golden saber. Dominator rank weapon. This was a good thing. What's the origin of this saber? Asked Lin Fei. This thing isn't from our world. It's from another world. I bought it from someone at a high price and tried to repair it. Unfortunately, I couldn't. Third Sage Lu said, the golden saber consumes too much great Tao energy. With my strength, just one slash consumes all my great Tao energy. Although the golden saber was sealed, Lin Fei could still feel the extraordinariness of a Dominator rank weapon. But now it was damaged. Lin Fei pondered and thought to himself, my current strength is almost at the Dominator level. I'm not far from leveling up. Having a Dominator rank weapon in hand isn't a bad choice. Even if I don't use it, I can give it to Hairball. Experience pills were cheap to begin with. Now that they could be exchanged for a Dominator rank weapon, it was a very good deal. Seeing your sincerity, I agree. Lin Fei didn't want to say anything more. However, I have a question that I really want to know. What kind of place is the other world you mentioned? Isn't it the myriad heavens? Yes, it really isn't the myriad heavens and realms. Third Sage Lu could see that Di Tian didn't know about this. He didn't mind saying it. If he didn't say it, Di Tian would find out sooner or later. It was better to leave a good impression. Our myriad heavens and realms is just a small place in this territory. The number of dominators is also very few. It's far from the outside world. Just a big city alone has 1 or 2 dominators. Our Sky Fortune Tower barely opened a few branches outside, and they're all mediocre. Damn, I'm in such a miserable state. Lin Fei almost cried out. In the myriad heavens and realms, the Sky Fortune Tower was very powerful. He didn't expect it to be like this outside. Lin Fei didn't dare to accept this disparity. Third Sage Lu laughed bitterly. There's nothing we can do about it. I heard that you fought with Gu Tian and beat him out. That kid is very arrogant. I don't like him. Lin Fei didn't have much to explain. Young and impetuous. Third Sage Lu would have said such words when he was young. Now that he was older, he had to consider many things. He wasn't as frivolous as before. Primal Chaos ancient countries are actually factions in other territories. Third Sage Lu didn't mind saying more. The Gu family is one of the bigger factions. Do you know why the two palaces want to establish an emperor dynasty? Other than internal reasons, there are also external reasons. They are preparing to be one step ahead. Hearing this, Lin Fei finally understood the reason behind it. Looks like I have to break through to the Dominator realm as soon as possible. Lin Fei thought, otherwise I won't even be able to fight back when they come. Does that mean that the Gu family will find trouble with me? According to the Gu family's character, they might. Third Sage Lu said awkwardly, I will get my people to talk to them. After all, this matter isn't your fault. No need. I, Di Tian, am not someone who is afraid of trouble. Lin Fei waved his hand. If they come, I don't mind leaving a few more heads. The great metropolis heaven isn't a place where they can come and go as they please. I, Lin Fei, am not a decoration. Third Sage Lu smelled killing intent. A very heavy killing intent. As expected of a fellow with soaring killing intent. The Gu family is not prepared. I'm afraid they will pay a huge price. Third Sage Lu thought. Lin Fei and Third Sage Lu chatted for a while. Then they took a large amount of experience pills and left through the transfer gate. Lu Ziyue stayed behind to participate in the Immortal Beast auction. After Third Sage Lu left, Lin Fei arranged a place for Lu Ziyue to rest while he went to study the Golden Blade. It's not late. Inside the World Lord Stone Pagoda, Lin Fei laid down layers of restrictions. After releasing the seals, a terrifying killing intent was released. The Dominator rank energy wave caused the void around the restrictions to become unstable. Lin Fei stretched out his hand and grabbed, and a rebounding force shook him. This rebounding force seemed terrifying, but Lin Fei didn't care at all. Behave yourself, or else I will destroy you. Similarly, a terrifying force crushed over. The golden blade also landed in Lin Fei's hand. He casually swung the blade and slashed out, breaking a rock in the distance. This was a primal divine stone. So sharp! Lin Fei took out another celestial sovereign treasure. With a slash of the blade, the celestial sovereign treasure was broken into two. He didn't care about losing a celestial sovereign treasure. There were many of these. Good stuff. With this, even if I encounter a Dominator rank expert, I can cut them down. Lin Fei smiled. I need to deal with the cracks on the blade. Otherwise, the blade will shatter. Third Sage Lu couldn't repair it. But that didn't mean Lin Fei couldn't. Otherwise, who would want it? Now, Lin Fei's standards were very high. After searching in the top quality system, Lin Fei really found a repair tool. The price wasn't cheap. With the Star Stones, he didn't have to worry about not being able to repair the Dominator rank weapon. Use of repair stone successful. Use of repair stone successful. Every time he used the repair stone, one of the cracks on the blade would be repaired. There were too many cracks on the blade. Only the Dominator rank weapon didn't shatter. Lin Fei wasn't afraid of using points. He used the repair stones piece by piece. He didn't know how many points he used, but he didn't bother counting. Boom! When the last crack was repaired, a terrifying aura was released. It was 10 times stronger than before. Chapter 1472. The Great Metropolis World's auction was in full swing. None of the people who came to participate were stable. They all wanted to take advantage of others to make a fortune. Unfortunately, it did not work in the Great Metropolis World. No matter who wanted to see the realm Lord Di Tian, it was all in vain. Those who were lucky were directly chased out. Those who were unlucky were directly thrown under the starry sky. No one dared to look down on the 12 immortal venerables guarding. One immortal venerable could instantly kill them, let alone 12 immortal venerables. This time, everyone obediently participated in the auction. As the realm lord, Lin Fei became a hands-off shopkeeper. Everything was handled by Golden Phoenix. She was very passionate about this matter. Moreover, she was the boss of a gang in the past. The auction was well organized under Golden Phoenix's leadership. The first day of the auction set a new record. During this period, a group of masked immortal venerables tried to snatch the immortal beasts and make a fortune. Unfortunately, they encountered 12 immortal venerables. They directly joined forces with high-level immortal venerables. One immortal venerable sacred art smashed down, and this group of people suffered heavy injuries. Some died, some were injured. It was a one-sided situation. Capture them, strip them naked, and hang them on the flag in the middle of the square. Lin Fei's punishment was very simple. He directly stripped them and hung them on the flagpole. A total of 5 immortal venerables were hung on the flagpole, just like that. It was unknown how many people's glasses were broken because of this. These were immortal venerables. Now, not only were they stripped naked, they were also hung naked on the flagpole. This slap was very serious. It was unknown how the immortal venerables' families would react if they knew. The 12 immortal venerables once again showed their terrifying strength. Everyone became obedient. The following auction went very smoothly. The immortal beasts were auctioned off at extremely high prices. This auction lasted for 3 days. Hubby, aren't you going to watch? After the auction ended, Golden Phoenix came over happily and took out the statistics from today. It must be a great harvest. It doesn't matter if I watch or not. Lin Fei did not look. Moreover, you are my wife. It's good that you know. Doesn't that mean I know? Only Lin Fei could come up with this theory. By the way, bring the 5 immortal reverends to the auction tomorrow as well. Lin Fei rubbed his chin. Those who dare to covet your man's things must have some guts. If I don't vent my anger, they'll really think that I'm a sick cat. Auction a celestial prime? The Golden Phoenix wondered if she had heard it wrong. Can't I? Lin Fei was going to auction the immortal prime. Just do it, since you dared to snatch the immortal beast. You must accept the consequences. Wow, that's great. Jean Feng jumped 3 feet high. Actually, I also had this plan at the beginning. The head of an immortal venerable is worth a lot of money. With the restriction formation, whoever buys it will have the combat strength of an immortal venerable. Everyone here today is rich. You don't mind to bleed for once. Without waiting for Lin Fei to say anything, Jean Feng disappeared in a flash. Is there a need to be so fast? Lin Fei shook his head. He really couldn't do anything to Jean Feng. On second thought, Lin Fei felt proud of his idea. There was no benefit in killing an immortal reverend. Only Lin Fei would dare to auction an immortal reverend. An immortal reverend is auctioning it? The 5 immortal sovereigns from yesterday are going to hold an auction. No way, this kind of thing actually happened. This was added at the last minute this morning. I just found out about it. When the sun rose the next day, a sudden piece of news came out. Everyone was shocked by this news. What a joke! The great metropolis heaven wanted to auction off an immortal reverend expert. This was not an ordinary level of guts. However, when he thought about the fact that Di Tian had been killed by an immortal reverend, and that the immortal court did not have to give face to him, it seemed like it was not impossible to auction off an immortal reverend. This greatly tempted the people from the major forces. Celestial supremes, if they had such an immortal reverend, the strength of the family or sect would increase by a large amount. The great metropolis heaven said that every immortal reverend had a restriction placed on them. It could not be easily broken, so they could only accept their punishment. As such, everyone was pondering whether or not they should bid for an immortal reverend. This morning, the great metropolis heaven was especially lively. As for those immortal emperors and even immortal reverends who had not bid, they secretly heaved a sigh of relief. They were almost auctioned off. Di Tian could not be offended. Not only was he stripped naked and hung on the flagpole, he was now going to be auctioned off. His methods were not ordinary vicious. He was selling his entire life. This bastard! At the auction hall, there were immortal beasts being auctioned outside. The quality was better than yesterday's. Everyone was bidding. They were afraid that they would be too slow and fall behind. However, in one of the private rooms, curses could be heard. Fortunately, the private room was soundproof and blocked divine senses. A gloomy young man walked back and forth. His eyes looked like he wanted to eat someone. "Young Master Gu, you have to avenge us." Apart from the young man, there were 3 middle-aged men in the private room who were frowning. "I will definitely avenge you guys." Gu Tian's face was dark. "I will not let anyone else win the immortal reverend." Gu Tian was originally chased out. Under Lu Ziyue's pleading, Lin Fei allowed the ancient celestials to enter. The people from the primal chaos ancient kingdom did not have much ability, so if they dared to play any tricks in their own territory, they could only blame themselves for seeking death. Gu Tianren came back, and he came back in anger. A bumpkin from the lower realm did not give him face, which meant that he did not give the primal chaos ancient country any face. Thus, Gu Tian pondered and decided to teach Di Tian a lesson. Thus, the previous scene happened. Gu Tian had calculated many things, but he did not expect Di Tian to be so vicious. Di Tian directly took out an immortal reverend for the auction. This almost angered him half to death. The 5 immortal venerables were also transferred over by Gu Tian from a few clans. Now that they were all filled with resentment, Gu Tian was filled with resentment, so he could only bid them down first. The 5 immortal reverends were a force to be reckoned with. If they were won by someone else, it would be hard for Gu Tian to explain, and he would hate Di Tian even more. A low-level immortal reverend. Starting price of 3 low-level immortal reverend treasures. Golden Phoenix pondered for a night and knew that she would maximize the benefits. She used the method of bartering and did not care about the immortal reverend treasures. Those who could participate in the auction today, which one of them did not have power? Among them, there were even some realm lords from the great worlds, who would lack immortal reverend treasures. Our wind and cloud world offers 3 low-level immortal reverend treasures. The realm lord's voice came from one of the private rooms. Immortal reverend treasures were dead, but people were alive. There were people who were not afraid of death, who would bid for immortal reverends. Chapter 1473. 8 immortal venerable treasures. 10 immortal venerable treasures. 12 immortal venerable treasures. One had to admit that the allure of an immortal venerable powerhouse was very great. No one wanted to miss this opportunity. As for where these immortal venerables came from, no one was interested in finding out. They were also not worried that someone would come to take revenge. Why would they worry about revenge when they could buy immortal venerables, who didn't have a backer and background? The first immortal reverend expert was bought away by 20 immortal reverend treasures. This was a high price, exchanging 20 inanimate objects for a living immortal venerable. The strength of the clan or sect would increase by a huge amount. This was a good deal. Damn it, I'm going to destroy them. Inside the private room, Gu Tian was furious, killing intent surging. When you all go out, don't tell me you don't know how to bring more immortal supreme treasures. We didn't know it would be like this. An immortal venerable of our clan is gone just like that. The few patriarchs wanted to vomit 3 liters of blood. When they heard that the immortal venerable was going to be auctioned, they wanted to buy it back. But when they realized that they didn't have many immortal venerable treasures on them, they were all dumbfounded. They could only watch helplessly as the immortal venerable of their clan was bought by someone else. They did not dare to say anything to Gu Tianren, and could only bury their resentment in their hearts. If not for the fact that Gu Tianren had requested for them to step in, their immortal lord would not have met with such a fate. How were they supposed to vent their anger now? This was all Di Tian's fault. Gu Tianren was also at his wit's end. Previously, he had put on a good show, but when he realized that he didn't have many immortal lord treasures on him, he immediately collapsed. Shoot my ass! Gu Tianren shifted all of his resentment onto Di Tian. Well done, Di Tian. Let's wait and see. Today's auction was exceptionally smooth. The auction of the 5 immortal venerables was undoubtedly the climax of the day. This kind of scene would probably not happen even once in a lifetime. It happened today. As for the immortal sovereign families, after paying the immortal sovereign treasures, they left the great metropolis heaven without a second word. There were also some experts who sneaked out of the great metropolis celestial world. No one dared to make a move there. They were afraid of being auctioned off. Not long after, there was news of a battle under the starry sky. Someone secretly tried to snatch the immortal venerables, and there were heavy casualties. Lin Fei didn't care about all of this at all. In any case, he had received the celestial reverend's treasure. As for who snatched it away, it had nothing to do with him. Not bad. 5 immortal venerables sold 90 immortal venerables treasures. With a dominator rank weapon, Lin Fei really didn't want an immortal venerate treasure. He casually glanced at it and returned the storage ring to the golden phoenix. If we had prepared well, the price could have gone up. But we were in a hurry today, and they took advantage of us. Jean Foam was not happy about today's harvest. How about you go and catch a few more? Damn, you're addicted to it. Lin Fei didn't know whether to laugh or cry. On second thought, this was a good idea. Fighting and killing, how boring is that? This was worth considering, and it was a good deal. The 3-day auction soon came to an end. Great Metropolis Heaven earned a lot this time, and everyone was satisfied. They were fortunate enough to see the immortal venerable auction it, so they had something to brag about when they returned. Not long after the auction ended, a group of uninvited guests broke into Great Metropolis Heaven. The experts, led by the immortal venerables, released their auras and rushed towards Invincible Palace. The people of Great Metropolis Heaven were already used to this kind of scene. With the great realm Lord Dition here, there was nothing that couldn't be solved. They were full of blind confidence. Not far above Invincible Palace, a group of people arrived. Dition, I'm from Wind and Rain Palace. I'm here to discuss something with you. Come out quickly. The immortal venerable in the lead didn't have any reverence in his tone. He only said, Dition, come out. What kind of person was Lin Fei now? He wasn't someone anyone could see. If he wanted to see anyone, he probably wouldn't have any free time. The 12 battle generals came out. All of them looked ferocious. In the sky above their heads, the vicious beasts were swallowing clouds and spitting out mist. My master is very busy. If you have something to say it quickly. If not, then scram. The one who spoke was Hu Pao. He had a big bald head, and his eyes flashed fiercely. He swept his gaze across the people in front of him. Those who were weaker were directly swept by his gaze. How dare you speak like that? An immortal emperor shouted. Do you know who we are? We are from Wind and Rain Palace. We are people you can't afford to offend. Long-winded. Hu Pao's temper was wild. In Great Metropolis Heaven, there weren't many people who could make him listen to him. As the sound of his voice faded, Hu Pao stretched his hand and grabbed. The immortal emperor exploded. Blood mist filled the sky. Even in death, this immortal emperor didn't know why they dared to make a move. Hee, Wind and Rain Palace. Hu Pao was filled with disdain. I'm not afraid of threats. You can't even block a single grab from me. You still have the cheek to say this. You dare to kill people. The immortal venerable in the lead raged. Hu Pao pointed with his finger. Why don't I dare? If you have the ability, say it again. Let's see if I don't kill you. I'll say it again. If not, then scram. 12 immortal, venerable battle generals. Each of them could fight against a mid-stage immortal venerable. The immortal venerable leading them was only at the peak of the mid-stage. Facing the 12 immortal venerables, he felt pressured. These 12 immortal venerables had combat skills. Once they used them, even 10 of him wouldn't be enough. He was very afraid. Our Wind and Rain Palace heard that your Great Metropolis Heaven is auctioning immortal venerables. We want to know what's going on. Don't you know that experts aren't allowed to be auctioned? The immortal venerable suppressed his anger and threw out a difficult question. Let's see how you explain. The 12 battle generals roared with laughter. Nonsense. This is the great metropolis heaven. Our master can do whatever he wants. It's none of your business. E. Kong sneered. If you're willing to give it a try, we don't mind capturing you and sending you to the auction stage. You dare! The immortal venerable was furious. These guys didn't give him any face. He was an immortal venerable of wind and rain palace, but he dared to say such words. I heard that your wind and rain palace is one of the leaders of the great metropolis heaven. I really want to see how powerful your wind and rain palace is. An afterimage grabbed towards the immortal venerable. The immortal venerable was also shocked. He threw out an immortal venerable treasure shield in an attempt to block it. Unexpectedly, he was sent flying by the afterimage, and a faint cracking sound could be heard. The 12 battle generals were ferocious beasts with extraordinary strength. Not everyone could resist them. Seeing the afterimage approaching, the immortal venerable of wind and rain palace could only resist it head-on. He then used a secret killer move. With this block, a huge force surged over and directly sent him flying. Too weak. The virtual figure appeared with a sneer. The immortal venerable of wind and rain palace was no match for the opponent. After a round of close combat, he spat out blood repeatedly. His body was also smashed once. Run. The immortal venerable didn't dare to attack again. He turned around and ran. Just you wait. The wind and rain palace won't let this go. The immortal venerable of wind and rain palace dared to say ruthless words after leaving the great metropolis heaven. He was so embarrassed. He couldn't help it. The immortal venerable of the battle generals was too powerful. He couldn't resist them at all. Looking at the tattered immortal armor on his body, he wanted to cry but had no tears. What was going on? Damn it, this is all Gutianren's fault. The wind and rain palace's great metropolis heaven adopted a soft policy. They didn't do anything against the great metropolis heaven. This time he came here in private. Who would have thought that the great metropolis heaven would be so fierce and beat him down in a few moves? He even suspected that if he wasn't the immortal venerable of wind and rain palace, he might have been captured. Next time, I will never listen to Gutianren. The immortal venerable of wind and rain palace left with his people. After leaving over 20 worlds under a starry sky, the immortal venerable of wind and rain palace was healing his injuries. Suddenly, a huge hand appeared in the sky. It covered the entire starry sky and slammed down towards them. Not good. The immortal venerable of wind and rain palace cursed and slammed down. The billions of miles of starry sky shook and calmed down. The flying ship in the sky turned into pieces. There were broken limbs and debris everywhere. There was no one alive. Even the immortal venerable of wind and rain palace was killed by this attack. So weak. The huge hand retracted. A sneer came from under the starry sky. Half a day later, people who passed by found traces of battle. When they saw the symbol on the flying ship, they couldn't help but gasp. This is the symbol of wind and rain palace. Who is so ruthless to kill the people of wind and rain palace? The people who encountered them were afraid of being suspected. They immediately found someone to report the news. They didn't leave, but stayed at the same place, waiting for the people of Wind and Rain Palace to come. This matter isn't a small matter. Once Wind and Rain Palace is angry, many people will suffer. Not long later, 3 more immortal venerables appeared at the scene. Their expressions aren't good. They are the closest immortal venerables. They immediately rushed over after hearing the news. The people of Wind and Rain Palace were killed. No one was left alive. Isn't this a provocation to their Wind and Rain Palace? What do you think? A fat immortal venerable asked. What else can we think? Someone is definitely targeting our Wind and Rain Palace. A hot-tempered immortal venerable snorted. Immediately send someone to investigate. We will know what is going on. I will use space-time reversal to take a look. This is the most effective way to find evidence. All right, this immortal venerable who is proficient in space-time reversal had just used it when his expression changed. Someone has disrupted the space-time here. They must have predicted that we will use this move. Could it be the people of the 3 palaces? It shouldn't be possible. The people of the 3 palaces shouldn't have the ability to go against our wind and rain palace. Who doesn't know that our 2 palaces are going to establish an emperor dynasty? The 3 immortal venerables couldn't come up with a feasible solution. They can only send someone to investigate. After this investigation, they found out that the people of Wind and Rain Palace went to Great Metropolis World and were beaten up by them. This made them furious. A mid-tier world dared to teach them a lesson. Could it be D. Tian's people? Chapter 1474. D. Tian's name had been resounding recently. The immortal court and the immortal sex had suffered a setback one after another and had no choice but to swallow their anger afterwards. Now that it involved the immortal venerables of Wind and Rain Palace, it was no small matter. How to deal with it became a headache. If it was an ordinary force, they would not say a word and directly arrest them. It was fine even if they didn't admit it. They could just use the soul-searching technique to see if they would confess or not. Unfortunately, this method didn't work on D. Tian. This guy's strength was tyrannical. Others had to cultivate for thousands of years before they could improve. But D. Tian improved at the speed of a rocket. Moreover, there was a mysterious expert in Great Metropolis Heaven. Before they could discuss how to deal with it, this matter had spread in the outside world. The people of Wind and Rain Palace were killed by D. Tian, but there was no movement from Wind and Rain Palace, etc. This undoubtedly made Wind and Rain Palace uncomfortable. They wanted to investigate it, but they couldn't find anything in private. The person who spread the news was very cunning, so they wouldn't be able to find anything. When Lin Fei heard this news, he had just finished cultivating. I killed the people of Wind and Rain Palace. Listening to Demon Venerable's report, Lin Fei suspected that he had heard wrong. Who is so vicious to frame me? Lin Fei had no interest in secretly killing people of Wind and Rain Palace. Master, this matter should be caused by some force. Demon Venerable said his thoughts. The people who target us are most likely from the force behind the immortal venerables. Inexplicably framing him, Lin Fei was unhappy. Are you sure? Lin Fei wasn't a good person. Since they dared to frame him, they had to pay the price. There is a 30 to 40% possibility, Demon Venerable said. Immortal venerables are the main fighting force of any force. Without this fighting force, the force's strength will be greatly reduced. Now that there are 5 immortal venerables, they are equivalent to 5 main fighting forces. The force behind them naturally can't take this lying down, so it is very easy for them to frame us. Lin Fei felt that this made sense. Master, do you want me to make a trip there and uproot these forces? Senior Immortal Myriad Evil laughed sinisterly. Daring to offend Master, and even daring to do such a thing, it would not be pitiful even if you were exterminated 100 times. Demon Sealing Immortal Venerable, take some people with you. Lin Fei did not intend to go personally. Since he had subordinates to use, he had to use them reasonably. Capture all the higher-ups behind those immortal primes in one fell swoop. It's best if you don't kill them. Bring them all back and sell them at an auction. Regardless of whether they had such thoughts, if they dared to play this game with him, Lin Fei would make them regret it. I'll bring some people over right away. Immortal Venerable Demon Sealer received the order and left. A group of more than 10 immortal venerables charged over together. Master, how do you plan to deal with the Wind and Rain Palace? Venerable Myriad Evil rolled his eyes. The Wind Rain Palace had a juggernaut, and it wasn't just one juggernaut. As long as he didn't offend them, Lin Fei didn't want to fall out with them so quickly. There's no hurry. We'll talk about it when the time comes. Lin Fei didn't go to the Wind and Rain Palace, But the messenger of the Wind and Rain Palace came, delivering a letter. The people of Wind and Rain Palace left behind a letter and prepared to leave. The moment explosive extermination made a move, he captured the emissary. Go back? We even doubted your identity. Master, these are the invitations from the two palaces to participate in the establishment of the Emperor dynasty. Explosion Destruction tossed the man aside and opened the invitation himself before reporting to Lin Fei. Di Tian, what do you mean by this? I'm a messenger from the Wind and Rain Palace. Aren't you afraid that the Wind and Rain Palace will blame you for detaining me? The messenger relied on the fact that he was a member of the Wind and Rain Palace to attack Di Tian. You're courting death. Bao Mie's palm slapped down, turning that person into a meat patty. Blast extermination, you're finished. You killed him. Explosive Destruction was indeed strong. He could kill someone with a single slap. *CK, I thought this guy was very strong. I didn't expect him to be so weak. Explosion Destruction lowered his head. Master, I didn't mean to kill him. I just can't stand it. He was already dead, so Lin Fei wouldn't say anything. A messenger was so arrogant, and Lin Fei was a little unhappy. He had accidentally killed him, and he could only say that he was unlucky. Who didn't know that the 12 generals had bad tempers? It was inevitable that they would be killed. Should he go to the Wind and Rain Palace or not? Blame him? Lin Fei wasn't afraid. With a repaired Dominator-grade weapon, he could easily kill an immortal venerable expert. Lin Fei really didn't want to miss such a big event like establishing an imperial dynasty. Lin Fei decided to go. If he didn't go, people would really suspect that he had a guilty conscience and they would look down on him. He was doing the right thing, so he wasn't afraid of anything. Even if the Wind and Rain Palace was a tiger's den, Lin Fei was prepared to go and see who was afraid of who. He wanted to tell everyone that he, Lin Fei, wasn't afraid of anyone. 3 days later, Demon Sealing Immortal Venerable returned. During this trip, Demon Sealing Immortal Venerable revealed his ruthless methods. The backgrounds of the 5 Immortal Venerables weren't easy to figure out. Fortunately, Lu Ziyue was present, so it was easy to find out their origins. They belonged to 3 clans. Demon Sealing Immortal Venerable led his people and charged forward. He had nothing to say, so he threw away the accusation that they dared to frame his master. He activated Star Immortal Venerable's treasure, broke the clan's formation, and charged in. More than 10 of them worked together to activate it. The amplification of their attack power was very terrifying. No one in the clan could stop them. Demon Sealing Immortal Venerable was also shrewd. When he attacked, he put on a big accusation and spread it to the entire world. In his master's words, he had to act openly. More than 10 Immortal Venerables attacked. When the powerhouses of the world saw this, they all retreated. Who dared to attack? They couldn't afford to offend great metropolis worlds Di Tian. Demon Sealing Immortal Venerable easily swept away the upper echelons of this clan and captured the Immortal Emperors and Immortal Venerables. The rest of the people left. Such a large clan had long been eyed by others. Now that there were no experts holding down the fort, it would be completely annexed by others. After they left, in less than half a day, the huge clan vanished into thin air. When the news spread, all the worlds in the universe were shocked again. No one expected Di Tian to be so ruthless, directly attacking the 3 forces. He didn't even need any evidence. He killed anyone he suspected. His methods were ruthless. The 3 clans used 3 days to capture all the people. There were 200 to 300 people. All of them were the upper echelons of the 3 clans. Master, these are the clan leaders of the 3 clans. 3 middle-aged men were thrown on the ground rudely. Right now, their faces were ashen. When they saw Di Tian, who was sitting on the main seat, they showed anger. Di Tian, you will die a horrible death. One of the clan leaders stared at Di Tian and said, Lin Fei sat on the throne and flicked his finger. A saber light slashed at the other party's body. A huge head flew up. You want me to die a horrible death? I will send you to hell first. With this slash, there was no chance of revival. You two still want to say more? Lin Fei said lightly. Chapter 1475. The three patriarchs were not strong, around peak fourth step immortal emperors. Sometimes the patriarchs did not have to be strong, they could be ordinary people. Those who were talented and strong would have already broken through to higher realms. They would not let such things delay them. Lin Fei killed one of the patriarchs. Four-step immortal emperors were not worth much anyway. There would definitely be an effect. The three patriarchs relied on their backing. They naturally had something to say when they saw Di Tian. Unfortunately, they met someone who did not play by the rules. Before they could even say a word, Di Tian killed one of the patriarchs. This saber strike caused the two patriarchs to tremble in fear. Di Tian, you captured us for no reason. Aren't you afraid of causing public anger? Lin Fei did not care about this public anger. If you say another word, I will kill you immediately. Lin Fei said calmly and flicked his finger. They immediately shut up. They saw the scene just now. They naturally did not dare to speak again. That's right. Lin Fei smiled. Tell me, who ordered you to arrange the immortal sovereigns of your clans? Well said. One of you can live, or both of you will die. I will count to 3. Lin Fei did not give them any chance to think. 1, 2. When Lin Fei counted to 2, the two patriarchs instantly treated each other as enemies. I will speak. Gu Tianren arranged for us to do this. Unfortunately, one of the patriarchs saw a saber light and saw his head flying. I said it. Why do you still want to kill me? Who asked you not to say it clearly? That head was unwilling to die and directly fell into darkness. The last patriarch secretly heaved a sigh of relief, rejoicing that he said his name. Otherwise his old friend would have ended up like him. Gu Tianren. Lin Fei really did not expect this person to be the one who ordered him to do this. Isn't he too narrow-minded? I did not kill you, but you found someone to take revenge on me. Do you really think that I am a good person? Tell me, what is your relationship with Gu Tianren? I want to tell you everything. He had heard Lu Ziyue mention it before, but now it seemed that Gu Tianren was not as simple as he seemed. In order to survive, the patriarch spilled out everything he should and shouldn't say. Previously, he had thought that he could make things difficult for Di Tian. It was only now that he understood that these little tricks were useless in front of the powerful Di Tian. If he had known that this would happen, he wouldn't have sent an immortal reverend back then. One wrong step was followed by many more wrong steps. There was nothing that could be salvaged. The people of the chaotic ancient kingdom are quite ambitious. After hearing this, Lin Fei had a new understanding of the ancient celestials. In the myriad of worlds, many small families were supported by them. You guys, you gave up your good days and got involved in this kind of thing. Who can you blame? Immortal venerable demon sealer, who was next to him, slapped him to death. You said you wouldn't kill me. I didn't kill you. The one who killed you was someone else. I didn't say that they couldn't kill you. Lin Fei did not plan to let the patriarch live. After the 3 patriarchs died, immortal venerable demon sealer said, Master, should we go and capture Gu Tianren? I'm afraid that he has already left and is waiting for you to go and capture him. Lin Fei knew that this kid was vicious and would have slapped him to death back then. Lin Fei remembered the chaotic ancient kingdom. Hand those people over to Madame Golden Phoenix and let her deal with them herself. Great Metropolis Heaven announced another auction. This time, there were 3 immortal reverends and a peak 4th step immortal emperor from the 3 families being auctioned. Naturally, it attracted a lot of cheers. Right now, which family did not lack experts? As long as they paid the right price, they could buy them. Where else could they find such a thing? At the same time, They secretly warned their families not to offend Diton. Didn't they see that the people of the three families were either dead or the upper echelons were wiped out and sold as slaves? They did not want to follow in their footsteps. Great Metropolis Heaven's auction of slaves might be shocking, but it was far from the other big news. The two palaces were going to establish an emperor dynasty. Many people in the myriad worlds received the invitation. They were preparing to witness this sacred day. Great Metropolis Heaven's matter could be ignored. Everyone's thoughts were on this matter. After dealing with the people of the three families and finding out the mastermind, Lin Fei had a target to deal with. The other party would not have a good time if he met them. Let's go. Bringing the 18 immortal reverend generals and hundreds of immortal emperor-level beasts, Lin Fei swaggered towards the two palaces. Such a grand entrance was unique under the starry sky. Anyone who saw hundreds of immortal emperor-level beasts would run far away. They could offend anyone but Dition. Of course, there were also people who gritted their teeth but could only endure. The distance between the two palaces was not far. They only needed to cross worlds. Lin Fei directly charged forward. Who knew how many people were frightened by this? Lin Fei did not think much of it. This was a world where strength reigned supreme. If they could not withstand the aura, it was because their cultivation levels were too low. This could not be said of others. As for those major factions who dared to say anything, they were already very satisfied that they did not cause any trouble. Close to the two palaces, the number of people who were invited gradually increased. Who dared to go when the two palaces asked? No one dared to not give face. If they did not go, they would be the first target after the Emperor dynasty was established. Everyone who received the invitation came. Lin Fei's appearance was still very eye-catching. No one dared to stand in front of Lin Fei. The surroundings were empty for fear of offending Lin Fei. The three families had only sent out immortal reverence, but they were wiped out and the higher-ups were taken away. Those who thought they were domineering really could not do so in front of Lin Fei. Didn't they see the 12 immortal reverence? How many people could bring so many immortal reverence when they went out? Get out of the way, Di Tian is here. So many immortal emperor-level beasts. How rich. When will I be able to pull the same amount of damage as Di Tian? Seeing this scene, it was unknown how many people were envious and jealous. A country bumpkin from the lower realm could have such achievements. How many people in the entire universe could do that? Master, we're there, Bao Mie said in a servile manner. It's quite lively. Lin Fei used his divine sense to scan and saw the situation outside. There were countless people coming and going, all for the establishment of the two palaces. Not long after, an immortal palace jade platform appeared. The grand manor was filled with the aura of a world overlord. This was the territory of the Wind and Rain Palace. The establishment of the court was also in the Wind and Rain Palace. It could be seen that the strength of the Wind and Rain Palace was vaguely above the other palace. Now that the Emperor dynasty was established, the two palaces were equivalent to one, preparing to take over the power of providence of the universe. The Wind and Rain Palace vaguely had a trace of overlord aura here. This was the convergence of providence. Lin Fei had to admit that this power of providence was really amazing. Outside the immortal palace, there were people stationed. As long as they handed in their invitation and registered their name, they would naturally be arranged. When Lin Fei and the others arrived, there was no one else around. The aura produced by 100 immortal emperor-level immortal beasts was still very shocking. This is the Wind and Rain Palace. Quickly put away your mounts. The people of the immortal palace had ugly expressions. This was the Wind and Rain Palace. Not any mount could enter. Naturally, they had to scold them. The 12 generals had bad tempers. They were naturally unhappy when someone scolded them. What are you shouting for? Don't you see that my master is here? Aren't you embarrassed to ask my master to walk in? Hu Pao did not give them any face. He threw out the invitation. Quickly register. If you anger me, I will kill you." Too arrogant. The guards of the immortal palace were first-step immortal emperors. Because they were from the Wind and Rain Palace, everyone was polite to them. Now, someone actually said that he wanted to kill him. This was simply looking down on him. "You have the ability." Before the guard finished speaking, he was pulled down. Immediately, another immortal palace guard came up and stopped that person. "Lord Dition, he is new. Please don't mind him. I will immediately arrange it for you." The previous immortal emperor guard was very unwilling. He was stopped by a sharp gaze, especially after hearing that it was Dition. A hint of fear flashed in his eyes. Hu Pao really wanted to kill this guy, a person who was not ambitious. He would not even know when he would be killed. "At least you have some eyesight." Hu Pao roared. "If it was another place, I guarantee that you would become a corpse. Just do your job properly. That way you can live longer." "Lord, this is where you will be staying." Immediately, someone opened the immortal palace gates, letting Dition and the others in. Only when all of them entered, the guard said unhappily, "Captain, isn't it just Dition? We are the Wind and Rain Palace. We cannot allow them to be arrogant." The guard captain sneered. He looked like he was looking at an idiot. "If you have the ability to stop them, do you believe that you will be killed immediately? Moreover, if you die, the higher-ups won't say a word for you. There are 12 immortal sovereigns outside. You can try and offend them." This guard broke out in cold sweat. He always thought that he was from the Wind and Rain Palace. He could ignore Dition. He brought up the Wind and Rain Palace. Dition would have to lower his head no matter what. He nearly brought him to death. These little bastards, they only know how to bully others. On the war chariot, Hu Pao roared. He was very unhappy with that kid. He dared to ask them to keep their mounts. He was really arrogant. He didn't even look at who they were. These people don't look too friendly. Not long after they entered, Bao Xian frowned. The surrounding gazes were filled with hostility. There were many such people. It was hard for them not to notice. "Who cares about them?" Bao Xian snorted. "A bunch of ants. They probably think that Master killed the immortal sovereigns of the Wind and Rain Palace." Bao Mie's guess was right. Chapter 1476. You want us to live in such a place. Lin Fei didn't care much about the hostility along the way. It wasn't like he would lose anything. It would be best if they attacked. Lin Fei didn't mind killing them. When they reached the place, Lin Fei's subordinates were angry, especially since they were ferocious beasts. Their tempers weren't small. Only Lin Fei could control them. Outside one of the immortal palaces of Wind and Rain Palace, Lin Fei arrived at the place where he checked in and found that he was staying in the worst palace. This infuriated Bao Mie and the others. They glared at him fiercely. "This is arranged by the higher-ups. I can't do anything about it." The immortal in charge of registration broke out in cold sweat. Lin Fei knew very well that there were people in Wind and Rain Palace who couldn't stand him and used this kind of method to disgust him. "Tell the higher-ups that I, Dition, won't be staying. You can arrange it however you want." Lin Fei threw out these words and was about to return to his residence. "Disgust me? I'll make you uncomfortable first." Lin Fei wasn't someone anyone could bully. "If Wind and Rain Palace wants to find trouble with me, you can do it openly. This kind of disgusting method will only make me look down on them." Only Lin Fei could say something like that and leave. In all the worlds, the two palaces were the leaders. Who dared to not give face? Lin Fei didn't. He believed that after he said this, there would be people more anxious than him. Don't look down on great metropolis heaven. It was a mid-level world. Its overall strength wasn't inferior to a great world. No one dared to underestimate it. As expected, after Lin Fei said this, the person in charge of registration panicked. Others could leave, but Dition couldn't. "Dao friend Dition, please wait." At this time, a person came out of the palace and landed beside the chariot. It was a middle-aged man who emitted the aura of an immortal venerable. "Lord Wenbai." The person in charge hurriedly said, "Step aside. I'll take care of this." Venerable Wen Bai continued, "Fellow Taoist Ditian, please forgive me for my negligence earlier. This must be a mistake by the higher-ups. I'll immediately arrange a new residence for fellow Taoist." Bao Mia coldly snorted, "Who knows if what you said is true or not? My master came all the way here to arrange for a yellow-level palace to stay. Aren't you looking down on our master a little too much?" This snort caused Venerable Wen Bai's body to tremble. He thought to himself, "This seems to be the first general of the 12 generals. Exploding destruction. He is indeed ferocious and terrifying. His entire body is emitting a vicious aura. I really wonder where Di Tian found him." Ever since the rise of the 12 generals, the Wind and Rain Palace had paid attention to them. The most terrifying thing was that these 12 generals possessed a mysterious battle formation that could erupt with the battle strength of a high-level immortal reverend. This was the most terrifying strength. Hearing this, Venerable Wen Bai revealed a trace of awkwardness. He laughed dryly. "Fellow Taoist Ditan, you misunderstood. How could our Wind and Rain Palace arrange a yellow-level palace for a famous powerhouse like you? I've already arranged for someone to arrange a heaven-level palace for you. I hope fellow Taoist Ditian will give me some face." Since the Venerable of the Wind and Rain Palace was so humble, Lin Fei, who was sitting in the chariot, was also too embarrassed to leave. When he said that he would leave just to make the Wind and Rain Palace uncomfortable, he came all the way here to participate in the establishment of the Emperor dynasty. This is the only time. There won't be a next time, Lin Fei said lightly. Venerable Wen Bai heaved a sigh of relief. He thought to himself, "This Di Tian is really arrogant. Sigh, who asked him to have such strength?" After a slight sigh, Venerable Wen Bai led the group into the heaven-level palace. It turned out that the people who were invited this time stayed in different grades. They were divided into heaven, earth, mysterious, and yellow. This was also the reason why Bao Mia was so angry before. This Di Tian is really arrogant. After Lin Fei's group left, 3 young men stood in a pavilion outside the palace. Their faces were filled with displeasure and even disgust. "He killed our people and still dares to come here. I wonder what the higher-ups are thinking," a one-eyed young man said angrily. "If it were me, I would have directly surrounded and killed Di Tian." "Brother Baiji, you can't say such things." An older man shook his head and said, "Right now, Di Tian has a bad reputation. Although he has a bad reputation, no one dares to go against him. However, he can't be arrogant for too long. Once the two-palace imperial empire is established, Di Tian's good days will come to an end." The one-eyed young man by Ji smiled. "Senior brother is right. No matter how arrogant Di Tian is, he will only be arrogant for a few days. Once the Emperor dynasty is established, Di Tian will become subject, and there will be many ways to deal with him." A heaven-level palace. Lin Fei's group moved in. They were the only people in the palace. There were specialized ferry services, pavilions, and waterside pavilions. "Master, the people of Wind Rain Palace are clearly trying to attack us. Why don't we just go back?" In the palace, Lin Fei had brought a pot of tea in front of him. "Leaving is so boring." Lin Fei took a sip of tea. "Moreover, if we leave, I'm afraid they will have other reasons. It's impossible to guard against them. It's better to stay here." Lin Fei was very clear about the Wind Rain Palace's plan. Lin Fei didn't care. No matter what they were planning, he would use force to break through. Even if they drew out rulers, it was just a big battle. It was no big deal. This was Lin Fei's plan. If it really came to that, Lin Fei believed that the people of the Emperor dynasty would not sit still. This time, it was unknown whether the two palaces could establish an Emperor dynasty. The immortal court and immortal sects would not be willing to let the two palaces establish an Emperor dynasty. They would only know after fighting. Lin Fei was in no hurry. After staying in the heaven-level palace for half a day, Lin Fei took the 12 generals out for a walk. Last time in Heaven Absolute Palace, he didn't walk around much, and his strength was not as good as now. Now it was different. Only rulers could threaten him. This kind of threat was not very big. When Lin Fei appeared on the street with the generals, everyone made way. No one dared to offend them. The immortal, venerable aura of the 12 generals was too fierce. Even if they had restrained it, there was still a pressure. Lin Fei didn't scold them. He let them release a faint pressure. If they were high profile, then so be it. Anyway, no one dared to do anything. Taoist Ditian, long time no see. Do you dare to come up for a chat? After strolling around the streets for a while, near a restaurant, Zhang Xian heard the voice of a spiritual sense, and it was a familiar spiritual sense. So it's Fairy Sue's invitation. How would I dare not come? Lin Fei smiled and led the generals up the restaurant. He pushed open a private room. The 12 generals all stood outside, so no one dared to come up. Taoist Ditian, you brought the 12 generals out. You can't find many people in the entire universe with such extravagance. How enviable. Chapter 1477. Venerable Su Feng was sitting in the private room. After letting Venerable Su Feng go last time, Lin Fei didn't expect to see her again so soon, let alone under such circumstances. Seeing Venerable Su Feng in this place, Lin Fei was quite surprised. He sat down and said with a smile, "This is the territory of the 2 palaces. You're quite bold to come here. Aren't you afraid of being arrested?" Venerable Su Feng was a person of the Immortal Lyceum, and her status was quite high. Lin Fei believed that the 2 palaces would be very interested in her. The 2 palaces are now busy establishing the imperial dynasty. They won't pay attention to people like me. Venerable Su Feng chuckled. On the other hand, fellow Taoist D, I haven't seen you for a long time. Your strength has improved beyond imagination. You're indeed worthy of being a reincarnated deity. Last time, Lin Fei tried his best to deal with Venerable Su Feng. This time, Lin Fei didn't have to worry about it. He was just curious as to why she came to see him. It seemed that he had no contact with her. During this period, he used his spiritual sense to scan Venerable Su Feng. But to his surprise, he couldn't see through her strength as it was isolated by a layer of force. You've improved again. Lin Fei was shocked. Last time, she already had the combat power of an immortal venerable. It couldn't have improved again, right? I'm lucky. Isn't it the same for you, Fairy? As for the so-called reincarnated deity, Lin Fei didn't explain it. He felt that it was unnecessary. It was good to add a sense of mystery to himself. In the past, Lin Fei already knew that Venerable Su Feng was extraordinary and worthy of young master fans' attention. Meeting her again today, he felt that she was extraordinary and knew many things that he didn't know. Apart from the people around him, Lin Fei couldn't find anyone else who could improve in such a short time. Venerable Su Feng was one of them. Lin Fei couldn't help but pay attention to Venerable Su Feng. She was also an extraordinary woman. Venerable Su Feng didn't want to talk about this anymore. Actually, the reason why I invited fellow Taoist here today is for one thing. I hope fellow Taoist can help me. Lin Fei pretended to be confused. Fairy, you're too serious. I don't seem to have anything that I can help you with. Fellow Taoist must be joking. Venerable Su Feng smiled very brightly. A few days ago, fellow Taoist could fulfill Third Sage Lu's wish. So why can't you fulfill this little girl's wish? In your eyes, it's the same thing. Lin Fei was shocked. He even knew this. Back then, the trade with Lu Sanqing had been completed through the teleportation gate, so it was impossible for outsiders to know about it. Lin Fei also believed that Lu Sanqing would not spread this matter, unless he was an idiot. Now that Fairy Su Feng knew about it, it was inconceivable. This proved that Third Sage Lu had Venerable Su Feng's spy. This was not an ordinary method. You're amazing. Lin Fei admitted it. I'm not as powerful as you. Venerable Su Feng chuckled. I only knew about it by chance. Fairy strength is unfathomable. You don't need my help to succeed in your cultivation. You want me to help you? I feel very embarrassed. I'm afraid you're too late. Lin Fei didn't want to agree. Regarding the experience pill, Lin Fei didn't want to spread it out for the time being. If this matter were to spread out, Great Metropolis Heaven would no longer exist. At that time, even the rulers wouldn't be able to help but snatch it. No matter how strong Lin Fei was, he wouldn't be able to deal with such a ruler. Fellow Taoist, don't be so distant. Venerable Su Feng didn't think that it would be so easy to get her hands on it. I heard that a few days ago an immortal venerable of Wind and Rain Palace was killed, and fellow Taoist took the blame. I can tell you that the ones who did it were Gu Tianren's forces, and they also came to Wind and Rain Palace. I've known about this for a long time. Venerable Su Feng seemed to have expected that Di Tian would say this. She threw down another message. After the establishment of the Emperor dynasty, your great metropolis heaven will become a vanguard world to resist the attack of foreign legions. Are you ready? Lin Fei frowned. What do you mean? Lin Fei launched an intelligence agency regarding the matter of the 10,000 worlds, but compared to the intelligence agencies of the major forces, there was still a big gap. For example, the outside world mentioned by Third Sage Lu, which he didn't know about for the time being. Venerable Su Feng's words made Lin Fei a bit confused. What was this related to the great metropolis heaven? Do you know why the two palaces want to establish the Emperor dynasty? Venerable Su Feng threw out another matter. You definitely don't know. Lin Fei really didn't know about these secret matters. Lin Fei smiled bitterly. You guessed it right, I really don't know. From the things that Venerable Su Feng threw out, Lin Fei knew that Venerable Su Feng came prepared today. Lin Fei had no interest in the establishment of the Emperor dynasty, but he was very interested in the matter regarding the Legion, which involved the great metropolis heaven. The 10,000 worlds wanted to establish the Emperor dynasty because they were forced to do so. Venerable Su Feng smiled. Because if the Emperor dynasty wasn't established in the 10,000 worlds, the 10,000 worlds would be invaded and controlled by the alien races, or even the people of other domains. It's because the 10,000 world strength is relatively weak and insignificant among the domains. If it wasn't for the influence of the Emperor dynasty in the past, I'm afraid that we would have been invaded and enslaved by now. Lin Fei seemed to have heard something. So your immortal Lyceum and the immortal sects won't take action in establishing the Emperor dynasty this time. Do you think they will? Lin Fei already knew that the establishment of the Emperor dynasty had been discussed internally, and all that was left was a ceremony. The three major forces gave up the fight and chose to cooperate for the time being to stabilize the 10,000 worlds. Has the 10,000 worlds really reached such a dangerous point? Lin Fei asked with a frown. This news seemed to have come too fast for him to digest. Several forces from other domains are already ready to go to our 10,000 worlds domain. It won't take long. They have used their domain warships to break through the limit of the heavenly Tao by 100 times. According to my information, your great metropolis world is located in a remote area, and it happens to be the entrance of a force. You know what this means. Venerable Su Feng said with a faint smile. This is really a problem of internal and external aggression. Lin Fei previously learned from Third Sage Lu that there were not only 10,000 worlds under the starry sky, but also other domains. Now, the forces of other domains wanted to attack Great Metropolis World. What is this? Great Metropolis World's remote location made it a place to log in, which made Lin Fei even more puzzled. Doubt. Lin Fei did think so, but after thinking about it, he felt that it was unlikely. This kind of thing shouldn't be so coincidental. Venerable Su Feng didn't seem to have any reason to lie to him. This was not good for her. I can only say that your luck is not very good, Venerable Su Feng said with a smile. As for why it's your great metropolis world, I can tell you that it's because of the Gu family. Gu family? Lin Fei's face sank. This was the second time he heard about it today. The first time was Gu Tianren, and the second time was the Gu family. Is this Gu family really that powerful? Lin Fei asked casually. The chaotic heaven kingdom was also a hidden existence in the 10,000 worlds in the past. Later, it left the 10,000 worlds and went to another domain. It is said that the chaotic heaven kingdom has 5 rulers, one of whom has reached the peak ruler realm. What do you think of their strength? So. 5 rulers? Lin Fei wasn't scared. After hearing so much news, Lin Fei finally understood what Lu Ziyue was afraid of. Third sage Lu buying experience pills was something he could imagine. It seems that I have no choice but to owe you a favor. If Venerable Su Feng didn't say these things, Lin Fei wouldn't know. I also want to know the strength of the army that will enter the great metropolis world. Whether it was true or not, Lin Fei had to prepare for a rainy day. It's the Battle Wolf Legion. You probably haven't heard of them. Venerable Su Feng said they are all aliens, and the leaders will be the 3 wolf kings with battle strength comparable to rulers. Although they haven't reached the ruler realm, their strength is no different from rulers. Moreover, their bodies are especially tyrannical. No one under the ruler realm can break their defense. Someone is not going to let my great metropolis world have an easy time. Lin Fei couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. The experts of this alien world were really tyrannical and terrifying. 3 people with battle strength comparable to rulers. This kind of combat strength was indeed terrifying. There were only a few rulers in the 10,000 worlds, yet the people sent by other domains were already so terrifying. The Battle Wolf Legion is a terrifying force in the domain. I don't know how many worlds they have destroyed. Prepare yourself. No one can help you in this matter. If necessary, the Emperor dynasty will choose to sacrifice a part of the world. Lin Fei now had to believe Venerable Su Feng's words. There was no point in lying to himself. How many experience pills do you want? Lin Fei added. There's nothing I can do if it's too many. He had to return this favor. You believe me? Lin Fei smiled. Why wouldn't I believe you? Fellow Taoist is really a straightforward person. I want 100,000 experience pills. Venerable Su Feng said, as long as you give me 100,000 experience pills, I will owe you a favor after this matter is over. That's not a small number. In Lin Fei's eyes, 100,000 experience pills were not worth mentioning. Every time he killed a monster, he could get tens of thousands of experience pills. Not to mention 100,000 experience pills. For those who didn't know, 100,000 experience pills was not a small number. For you, it's completely worth it. Venerable Su Feng also knew that this was a large number of pills. Such a number of pills was very useful to him. You win. Lin Fei smiled bitterly. I need time for such a large amount, and I have to report it. This is my communication talisman. Once there's any news, you can contact me. Venerable Su Feng took out a communication talisman, which was used to send messages. No matter where he was, he could receive the message. After receiving the communication talisman, Venerable Su Feng stood up and left. Lin Fei didn't leave, but continued to sit. Establish the Emperor dynasty, Battle Wolf Legion, Venerable Su Feng. A deep voice echoed in the private room. Lin Fei stayed in the private room for half an hour before he finally came out. Master, where are we going now? To find someone to settle old scores. Chapter 1478. At this moment, Lin Fei was in a very bad mood. I didn't go to look for you, but you plotted against me first. If I don't vent my anger on you, who else should I vent my anger on? The 12 generals also knew that their master's temper was not good. They were wondering if they should deal with Di Tian ruthlessly when the time comes. When Venerable Su Feng left, she mentioned Gu Tian's whereabouts. Needless to say, her intention was obvious. Lin Fei didn't mind at all. He was so willful. No matter where he was, he would deal with them first. Just like that, Lin Fei led the 12 ferocious fellows out. He really went. After Lin Fei left, Venerable Su Feng appeared in another restaurant. It was hard for Venerable Su Feng to explain what kind of person Di Tian was. Gu family you may not know, but in order to target Di Tian and get his cultivation technique and everything, I'm afraid you will encounter a great disaster in the future. Logically speaking, in the clash between Di Tian and Gu family, most people think that Gu family will win. The difference in strength between the two is too big. Saintess, where are we going next? A woman in black with a strange aura came out from the side. Let's go back. Venerable Su Feng played with a pill in her hand. It was an experience pill. I'm going into seclusion. The two figures disappeared from the restaurant just like that. 10,000 Li Mansion. Lin Fei and his generals came to a main street and easily found the place Venerable Su Feng mentioned. This was a money-squandering den. As long as you have money, you can play with anything here. You can even play with female immortal emperors. The cost was naturally not low. Except for family disciples, ordinary people couldn't afford it. Not to mention anything else. When Lin Fei arrived, he scanned with his divine sense and saw 16 immortal emperors standing at the door. Immortal emperors were guarding the door, and all of them were third-step immortal emperors. This was not a small amount. At the very least, it was intimidating and not daring to make any moves. They still have some power. Lin Fei's divine sense swept the entire 10,000 Li Mansion again. With the current strength of his divine sense, he found out the overall strength of 10,000 Li Mansion. 5 immortal venerables, 2 low-level immortal venerables, 3 mid-level immortal venerables, and one of them is a peak mid-level immortal venerable. This strength was indeed very powerful. Venerable Su Feng even mentioned that the 10,000 Li luxury court had the support of Wind and Rain Palace's elders. Ordinary people would frown upon hearing this and lose all their courage. Master, is this the place? Annihilation was the most direct method. Should we fight? Paying a visit and taking the initiative to ask someone to come out was either a gentleman first or a villain second. None of the 12 battle generals could do such a thing. Just now, with a sweep of his spiritual sense, Lin Fei discovered traces of Gu Tianren. He seemed to be drinking with a group of people, chatting and laughing, looking very carefree. Lin Fei naturally understood what was going on. They had secretly tried to frame him. They clearly knew that he was coming to the Wind Rain Palace. Yet they still dared to drink here. Did they really think that he wouldn't dare to make a move? Fight your way in. Don't give face to anyone. Lin Fei really did not take a mere 10,000 miles mansion to heart. It was the same for the Wind Rain Palace elders. No one would make things difficult for him if he caused a huge disaster at this time. After all, the myriad heavens and realms weren't having a good time either. Allow me. Hu Pao was the most excited. He was the first to open his mouth and roar. A terrifying sound wave attack blasted towards the door of the 10,000 miles mansion. Its might could also be felt. Who's there? The third-step immortal emperors at the door cursed inwardly. Just as they were about to speak, the terrifying sound wave attack came. The 16 third-step immortal emperors vomited blood and fell to the ground. Walala, the building at the door collapsed, causing dust to fly everywhere. The area of destruction continued to extend inside. Nothing could stop this sound wave attack. In an instant, the door of the 10,000 miles mansion turned into ruins. It was a complete mess. It was too horrible to look at. The main street was filled with people. When they saw this scene, many immortals inhaled a breath of cold air. Who was so daring to directly destroy the door of the 10,000 miles mansion? This was a slap to the face. Who didn't know the strength of the 10,000 miles mansion? Hu Pao's actions alarmed everyone in the 10,000 miles mansion. Immediately, a fourth-step immortal emperor flew out and shouted in anger, "You are dead! How dare you do this in the 10,000 miles mansion?" Kacha, before he finished speaking, who pow-slapped the fourth-step immortal emperor to the ruins and killed him. Gu Tianren, how dare you frame my master? Come out if you have the ability. Don't hide. Bao Mie's voice was loud and clear. It was impossible not to know. In a palace within the 10,000 Miles mansion, Gu Tianren was drinking with a group of deacon disciples from the Wind Rain Palace. Naturally, he didn't care about the commotion outside. The 10,000 Miles mansion had a deep background. Even an immortal reverend wouldn't dare to cause trouble here. In the next second, his name reverberated in the 10,000 Miles mansion. It's Di Tian. Gu Tianren stood up with a swoosh. His expression turned ugly. Back then, he was flicked away by a finger and was even killed once. Gu Tianren still remembered it vividly. A hint of fear flashed in his eyes. He didn't have any courage to fight head-on. Brother Gu, could it be that bastard Di Tian who killed our Wind Rain Palace? As mentioned before, everyone present was a deacon disciple from the Wind Rain Palace. Those who became deacons in the Wind Rain Palace were all genius disciples who were close to the immortal reverent level. They could break through to the immortal reverent level at any time and become the main fighting force of the palace. Gu Tianren panicked when he heard the name, but when he heard the words of the person in front of him, he had an idea and complained, "Brother Mo, that person outside should be Di Tian. I didn't expect him to be so despicable and shameless. He actually made a big scapegoat for others and even came to us. Everyone should know what kind of person I am. Our Gu family would never do such a thing." Immortal Emperor Mo Song knew a little about Gu Tianren's background. He naturally knew that he wouldn't do such a thing. He was full of anger towards Di Tian. "Brother Gu, don't worry. This is the territory of the Wind Rain Palace. I didn't want to find trouble with him. Now that he has come to us, we will help you vent your anger. Di Tian, this kid must be taught a lesson. It's best to capture him and hand him over to the law enforcement hall. We will interrogate him to find out if he killed our immortal reverend. Di Tian is playing with fire. How dare he kill someone in the Wind Rain Palace?" These deacon disciples looked down on Di Tian, who came from the lower domain. Gu Tianren sneered in his heart. Di Tian, let's see if you dare to make a move. Let's see what you can do after killing someone from the Wind Rain Palace." At the entrance of the 10,000 Mile mansion, 7 to 8 fourth-step immortal emperors were killed one after another. They weren't a match for General Husi. "No matter who you are, you better give us an explanation for killing people here." In the blink of an eye, 5 immortal reverends appeared from the depths of the 10,000 Mile mansion. The leading immortal reverend was a gray-robed immortal reverend with the battle strength of a peak intermediate immortal reverend. The moment he appeared, he released the aura of a peak intermediate immortal reverend. He was prepared to suppress everyone once he appeared. Once the aura was released, 12 oppressive auras crushed down. They were even more ferocious and tyrannical. The 5 immortal reverends fell from the sky and smashed into the ruins. Chapter 1479. The 5 immortal venerables of the 10,000 Miles mansion had a bad start. They didn't even look at their strength when they came up. Now, immortal venerables had very tyrannical combat strength. Once the 5 of them came out, they could do whatever they wanted. In the end, when they came up and released their immortal venerable pressure, they were pressed to the ground by someone else's pressure. They reacted. The people who came were all immortal venerables. With this sweep, they almost spat out a mouthful of blood. They were all middle-stage immortal venerables, a total of 12 immortal venerables. How could they fight? The 5 of them came out to bully people, relying on their backing. There was usually no trouble they couldn't solve, and they were also very arrogant. Who would have thought that there would be someone more domineering than them? Who are you? Why are you attacking our 10,000 Miles mansion? The middle-stage immortal, venerable, gray-robed old man was afraid. This is the reason. Ho Si Battle General rushed up and released his pressure, punching the other party's body. The speed was so fast that he couldn't resist, and was directly sent flying, smashing into another palace. Because you are harboring my master's enemy, it is normal to tear down your door and kill you. Ho-Si Battle General was also quick-witted. Who cares? He beat them up first, not forgetting to put a big hat on them. Master, I did the right thing, didn't I? Ho-Si Battle General proudly rushed up again. Lin Fei said with a smile, "The few of you should learn from Ho-Si Battle General. This is called attacking with a good reason. Before beating people up, find a reason for yourself." We got it. Lin Fei didn't know that after saying this, the 12 battle generals became extremely shameless. The surrounding people kept rolling their eyes after hearing this. What kind of words was this? They really had never seen such shameless people. Master, the things on their bodies can atone for their crimes. I'll go and strip them. Heavenly Rat Battle General laughed and also rushed up. The 4 immortal venerables who just came out of the ruins had extremely ugly expressions. I'll go too. Together, together. The 4 immortal venerables were directly besieged, suppressing the 4 immortal venerables and beating them to death. No, my battle shield. This is my immortal armor. You bunch of bandits. How could the 4 immortal venerables resist the ferocious beasts? In less than a moment, all the things on their bodies were stripped off. Even their storage rings were forcibly cut off. Master, this guy was so arrogant just now. I helped you take care of him. The tiger warrior had already returned with a large pile of things in his hands. All of these came from this peak intermediate stage immortal venerable. If you dare to move, I'll kill you. The immortal venerable of the 10,000 Miles Mansion was quickly defeated and even stripped naked. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. This method was too cruel. Did they still want to live? Ancient Celestial, why are you still not coming out? Do you wish for everyone to be like these immortal sovereigns? The Destruction Battle General could also speak. The people of the 10,000-mile mansion were originally watching the show. In the 10,000-ly mansion, no one dared to cause trouble. But today, they met an even more tyrannical person who took care of the 10,000-ly mansion in just a few breaths. We don't know ancient celestials. We'll leave immediately. These people who came to play immediately wanted to leave when they saw the situation. Just as a few people came out of the palace and were about to break through the air, their mounts were shattered, and they fell, landing in the hands of the ferocious battle general. All of you, stand properly. The one who attacked was Battle General Crocodile Kong. He caught the people and threw them on the ruins. Everyone who came out was caught and thrown on the ruins. No one could leave. In the blink of an eye, most of the people were caught. They did not dare to move in front of the immortal venerables' pressure. What a joke! These were immortal venerables. They could crush them to death with a flick of their fingers. Threatening them? They should just wash up and sleep. Sir, don't you know that doing this will bring trouble to yourself? The peak intermediate stage immortal venerable said coldly. Whoosh! Lin Fei flicked his finger and chopped off one of the other party's arms. He said indifferently, trouble? Do you think I'm afraid? Lin Fei did not plan to be afraid of trouble after tearing down the door. Tian, this isn't the great metropolis world. This is the territory of the Wind and Rain Palace. Don't be arrogant. A sharp voice came from the ruins. A resplendent sword light pierced towards Lin Fei's face. The sword light was sharp and fierce. You dare to attack my master? Bao Mia rushed up, and the resplendent sword light was shattered. A muffled groan came from the depths of the ruins. A black shadow flew out and fell not far from Lin Fei. With this shout, everyone came to a sudden realization. So it was Tian, whose name shook the heavens. No wonder he was so arrogant. He brought 12 immortal venerables with him when he went out. The peak intermediate stage immortal venerable of the 10,000 Miles Mansion turned deathly pale. He had offended Tian. This guy was famous for being ruthless and dared to kill immortal venerables of the Wind and Rain Palace. He had even tried to threaten Di Tian. He was courting death. At the same time, the gray-robed immortal venerable hated Gu Tianren. If it wasn't for this guy, how would their 10,000 miles mansion end up in such a state? It was as if someone had swept them clean. At this moment, he even had the intention to kill Gu Tianren. Di Tian, if you dare to attack me, do you believe that you won't be able to walk out of the Wind and Rain Palace? The black-robed deacon on the ground said with hatred. Lin Fei flicked his finger and sent out a saber light at the other party. A large head flew off and blood splattered everywhere. You dare to kill me? This fellow's consciousness sank into darkness. Lin Fei hated threats the most. Why did you have to use your background to suppress me? Aren't you forcing me to kill you? What an idiot. All of you have watched for so long. How much longer are you going to watch? Suddenly, 5 people appeared in front of them. Gu Tianren was expressionless, but there was a trace of hatred in the depths of his eyes. Have you thought about the consequences of killing a deacon of the Wind and Rain Palace? Deacon Mo Chiu said coldly. The one who attacked was a deacon. Mo Chiu didn't expect Di Tian to have such a strong killing intent. He didn't even care about the Wind and Rain Palace's face and just killed him with one blade. This was a celestial venerable. Wind and Rain Palace celestial venerables weren't cabbages on the streets. Killing one meant one less. Deacon Mo Chiu didn't dare to attack. To protect the Wind and Rain Palace's face, he had to speak up. If not, people would really think that the Wind and Rain Palace was afraid of Di Tian. If you don't want to die, then stand to the side. Lin Fei's gaze landed on Gu Tianren. You are not bad, really. Gu Tianren felt a chill down his spine. I am from the Gu family. What do you want to do? Come over. Lin Fei reached out and grabbed. Gu Tianren was covered by the power and couldn't resist at all. He was grabbed in front of him and slapped. Gu Tianren's face swelled up right away. You dare to scheme against me? Have you thought about this day? Another 2 slaps landed on Gu Tianren's face, and Gu Tianren's teeth flew out. Gu family, how arrogant. Voila! Chapter 1480. On the ruins of the 10,000-mile mansion, everyone saw a brutal scene. Di Tian from Great Metropolis World chopped off one of Gu Tianren's arms. Blood splattered all over the ground, and the surroundings were filled with the smell of blood. Everyone had seen Di Tian's brutality. For the sake of an enemy, he destroyed the enemy's gate and killed a deacon disciple of Wind and Rain Palace. Who could do that? But Di Tian did it. Even the celestial venerables of the 10,000-mile mansion didn't dare to make a sound. If they made a sound, they would be killed. Di Tian, you dare to chop off my arm? I won't rest until you die. Gu Tianren cried out in pain. Gu Tianren didn't expect Di Tian to be so daring to attack him in public and even kill a deacon of Wind and Rain Palace. If he knew, he wouldn't have come out even if he was beaten to death. Another blade light flew past, and Gu Tianren's other arm was chopped off. Blood splattered all over the ground. Gu Tianren, if you have the ability, then threaten me. Every time you open your mouth, I will chop you once. Let's see how many things you have to chop off. Lin Fei didn't care about Gu Tianren's threat. He had to vent his anger today, and no one could stop him. Gu Tianren didn't dare to make a sound. Lin Fei directly slapped him. Speak, continue speaking. I spared your life last time, but you actually dared to secretly attack me. You really have the ability. Another slap landed on Gu Tianren's body. If you don't have the ability, then don't come out and cause trouble. Do you really think I don't dare to deal with you? Lin Fei slapped Gu Tianren's face just like that. His originally handsome face became like a big fat pig, and it was almost impossible to recognize him. It wasn't just an ordinary kind of miserable. Lin Fei's terrifying power suppressed the recovery of Gu Tianren's arms, causing Gu Tianren to continuously bleed. Lin Fei had enough and threw Gu Tianren on the ground. Dealing with this fellow would at most vent his anger. Our Lin Fei already bore a grudge against the Gu clan. Capture him, let's go. Lin Fei didn't want to kill Gu Tianren yet. Killing him would be so meaningless. All right. Immediately, a general went up and lifted Gu Tianren up. Gu Tianren was left with a venomous gaze as he spat out blood at the general. This time, the general turned his hand around and whipped at Gu Tian. How could Gu Tianren withstand such a fierce beating? He almost rolled his eyes. If it wasn't for the fact that Master didn't allow me to beat you to death, I would be the first to beat you to death. Who do you think you are? Gu Tianren's gaze grew even more venomous as he thought to himself, once I'm free, I'll definitely make you, Ditian, die a horrible death. I'll kill everyone you know one by one to vent my anger. The onlookers outside had already retreated far away. Why? Wasn't he frightened? The master was so cruel, and the subordinates were also so cruel. Who would dare to offend them? The immortal venerates of the 10,000-mile Grand Court heaved a sigh of relief. They could not wait for Ditian to leave immediately. For some reason, facing Ditian and his subordinates gave them immense pressure, even the threat of death. They didn't want to die. Get out of the way, who's causing trouble? A sharp voice came from the front. The onlookers' expressions changed drastically as they opened up a path. A group of black-armored soldiers barged in with murderous intent on their faces. Law enforcement team, you've come at the right time. Ditian is killing innocents here. I'm a deacon disciple of the Wind and Rain Palace. Deacon Mo Chio looked as though he had found an army when he saw his own people. Quickly capture him. The law enforcement team of the Wind and Rain Palace was made up of fourth-step immortal emperors. They were proficient in arrays and restrictions, and their combat strength was extremely strong. No one in the Wind and Rain Palace dared to offend them. If they were captured and brought to the law enforcement hall, they would definitely lose a layer of skin. If they were unlucky, they would be sent to mine for a few thousand years. You talk too much. A cold voice resounded in Mo Chio's ears. He saw a familiar figure, but it wasn't the lower half of his body. Deacon Mo Chio's body had been chopped into two without him noticing. He was no longer breathing. Lin Fei hated people who talked too much. So what if you're the law enforcement team? Do you really think that I, Lin Fei, am easy to bully? I'll kill you, I don't need a reason. There were a total of 16 people in this law enforcement team. It was unknown how many people they had killed, but their killing intent soared into the sky. You dare to kill! The law enforcement team recognized that person as a Wind and Rain Palace disciple. At this moment, all of them were furious. The Destruction Battle General and the other 12 battle generals stepped forward. You dare to say such words to Master? You're asking for a beating. Swish, 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 the 12 battle generals charged out. The law enforcement team had dealt with all sorts of people, but when they saw who it was, they all inhaled a breath of cold air. Damn, they were all immortal venerables. Who reported this news? The law enforcement team was very powerful, but it didn't mean that they didn't put anyone in their eyes. Moreover, there were 12 immortal venerables in front of them. Each of them had a powerful aura that could suppress them. The moment the 12 battle generals appeared, the law enforcement team was torn apart. They weren't a match for them. They were all beaten to the ground, and their equipment was stripped clean. The law enforcement team's equipment was very good. Otherwise, they wouldn't dare to call themselves law enforcement team disciples. How could they deal with enemies without good equipment? I'm staying in the Immortal Palace courtyard. If you want to find trouble with me, come. I, Ditian, will welcome you any time. Ditian left with a swagger. They had seen arrogant people before, but it was the first time they saw someone like Ditian who killed someone from the Wind Rain Palace. Tian brought the group back to the palace where the immortal palace courtyard was. As for what was happening outside, he wasn't interested in finding out. Gu Tianren, you're mute now. Weren't you very arrogant? Inside the palace, Gu Tianren was thrown to the ground. You'd better let me go. Lin Fei stretched out his hand and directly broke Gu Tianren's Qihai acupoint. He even broke the power sealed in his body, turning Gu Tianren into a cripple. Now, do you still want me to let you go? Gu Tianren roared. His entire body seemed to be sucked dry, and his face was deathly pale. You dare to cripple my Dantian! People like you won't be honest. Lin Fei had long seen through Gu Tianren's hatred. This kind of person could be killed with one slash, but he was prepared to keep him alive. So he could only break his Dantian first. Anyway, it's useless for you to keep your strength. Based on what your Gu clan has done, crippling your Dantian is still a light punishment. Gu Tianren's talent was not bad. He had cultivated to immortal venerable long ago. How could he think of being crippled by a country bumpkin in the lower realm? He could only stare at Tian. I'm finished. You won't have it easy either. Our Gu clan won't let you go. This was the only thing Gu Tianren could do now. He wanted Tian to feel fear, to live in fear. Chapter 1481. Inside the Wind Rain Palace's main hall, a murderous aura filled the air. What happened in the morning had reached the ears of the Wind Rain Palace's upper echelons, to the peak existences of one of the two palaces that controlled the universe. Today was no less than a resounding slap in the face. 2 deacon disciples were killed. The enforcer disciple was beaten up badly. All of his equipment had been snatched away. Aside from the armor he wore, he had nothing else. Elder Su, the backer of the 10,000-mile mansion, also stood up because they had encountered an unexpected disaster. Outrageous. Tian is too arrogant. He doesn't take our Wind Rain Palace seriously at all. I suggest we immediately mobilize experts to capture Tian. Elder Su said sternly. At this moment, many upper echelons were gathered in the palace. Elder Su was the backer of the 10,000-mile mansion. Everyone in the Wind Rain Palace knew that he supported the 10,000-mile mansion, but who usually didn't give him face. Great, they were slapped in the face today. They had to vent their anger no matter what. The moment Elder Su said this, the rest of the immortal reverend elders fell silent. That's right, silenced. It was quiet in the palace. Capture Tian? Go and capture him if you can. Tian brought 12 immortal sovereigns, and they were all intermediate ones. They even knew secret battle formations and had high-level immortal sovereign battle strength. How could they fight him? High-level immortal sovereign battle strength. Tian was a very mysterious person, especially his strength. Nobody knew what trump cards he had up his sleeves. If they really wanted to capture Tian, they would have to pay a huge price. Who could accept such a loss when establishing the Emperor dynasty? Elder Su, you're right. Tian has been arrogant and overbearing more than once. I think it's best if Elder Su deals with him. I also suggest Elder Su deal with him. With Elder Su making a move, that brat Tian will still be obediently waiting to be captured. The other immortal sovereigns directly recommended Elder Su to deal with him. Elder Su cursed. Who didn't know Tian was not easy to deal with. I criticized them harshly just now because I wanted them to deal with him. You want me to deal with him alone? You're deliberately sending me to my death. Who didn't know Tian's influence now? Elder Su had also heard about it. Even though he was a mid-level immortal venerable and had cultivated a few sovereign rank secret arts, he didn't have the guts to go over. After all, the 12 generals under Tian were not to be trifled with. There was no need to make a move. Tian is extremely vicious. I think it's better for us to discuss this. Elder Su said seriously. Everyone sneered in their hearts. I knew you didn't have the guts. The palace master of the Wind and Rain Palace, who was seated on the throne, shook his head slightly. These people were shouting very loudly. If he really asked them to make a move, none of them would dare to. The palace master of the Wind Rain Palace was extremely annoyed that Ditian didn't give him any face. This was the Wind Rain Palace. Did they really think that no one would dare to make a move? The Wind Rain Empyrean also felt a headache as to how to resolve this matter. If it was an ordinary person, they could just capture him. But Ditian's temper wasn't ordinary at all. At least not now. Palace Master, although Ditian is arrogant, he definitely has his reasons for capturing Gu Tianren of the Gu clan. Since that's the case, why don't we inform the Gu clan of this matter and let them handle it themselves? Why do we have to interfere? I think so too. The Gu clan has contacts in the myriad heavens. I believe that there's no need for us to make a move. The people of the Gu clan will also make a move. It is said that this Gu Tianren has a certain status in the Gu clan. The immortal venerables of the Wind Rain Palace clearly didn't want to deal with Ditian, but they also knew who was the best choice. But a disciple of our Wind Rain Palace has died. Elder Su wasn't willing to give up and nagged again. At this time the palace master spoke. Isn't it just 2 people who died? It's obviously the Gu clan's matter. Why would they interfere? You asked for it. All right, the Emperor dynasty is about to be established. This is what we should worry about. Ditian's matter is just a small matter. It's not worth our concern. Ditian was a headache. They wouldn't deal with him if they could. Just like that, the matter regarding Ditian's matter was settled. In the myriad heavens, under a desert in a dead world, in the myriad heavens, a person walked quickly and arrived at the end of the palace in the blink of an eye. There was a throne there. A man with a golden mask sat on the throne, emitting a cold and gloomy aura. A letter from the Gu clan. The man with the golden mask stretched out his hand, and a jade slip fell into his hand. After a while, the jade slip broke into pieces and fell. The Gu clan is too much. They even want us to deal with this kind of matter. The man with the golden mask revealed a dissatisfied expression. Are the platinum assassins back? Lord, they have returned. Summon them here. Yes. Very rarely, 3 black shadows appear without a sound. It seems like you have already cultivated the void escape technique to the immortal venerable level. You can go and complete this task. Who should we kill? Ditian of the great metropolis world. The man with the golden mask said indifferently, This person's strength is unfathomable. He is at least a peak intermediate immortal venerable. What you need to do is to kill him. Yes, the 3 figures disappeared just like that. There wasn't even a bit of spatial fluctuation. This was the headquarters of the Blood Rain Tower's assassins. The revenge of the Wind Rain Palace didn't appear. This made the people who were paying attention to it dumbfounded. Since when did the Wind Rain Palace become so easy to negotiate with? If it was during normal times, no matter who it was, they would be attacked by the law enforcement disciples. Master, I think they don't dare to come. Bao Mia and the others were still rubbing their palms. They were very disappointed when they didn't see the people from the Wind Rain Palace coming. They didn't even have the chance to warm up. Lin Fei had expected this. It would be strange if they dared to come. From the beginning, Lin Fei knew that the people from the Wind Rain Palace wouldn't dare to come because they didn't have the courage or even the preparation. At least, under the situation of not solving the external threat, neither the Sky Absolute Palace nor the Wind Rain Palace would find trouble with him. It was hard to say after that. Of course, at that time, Lin Fei didn't need to worry about them. Now, after the establishment of the Emperor dynasty, he could leave. Lin Fei didn't want to care about other things. It was better to go back and prepare for the battle. The people from the Wind Rain Palace didn't dare to make a move. Actually, some people had expected it. Ditian was such a big force. Ordinary people wouldn't dare to make a move. There was the immortal court in front and the immortal sex behind. Soon, everyone's attention was on the establishment of the Emperor dynasty. In the next few days, the representatives of the immortal court and the immortal sex came one after another. Chapter 1482. The small storm that Lin Fei caused in the Wind and Rain Palace was over just like that. In the eyes of everyone, this was very normal. Who would bring 12 immortal venerables? And they were all mid-level immortal venerables. It could be said that such a small number of people could completely destroy countless sections. No one could stop them. Lin Fei stayed in the Immortal Palace for 8 days. On the evening of the 8th day, the Wind and Rain Palace sent a message, informing them to attend the Imperial Dynasty establishment ceremony tomorrow, because people from all over the heavens and realms had come. Because he knew some inside information from Venerable Sufeng, he really didn't have much interest in the establishment of the Imperial Dynasty. He just treated it as meeting the big shots from all over the world. The next morning, Lin Fei brought his subordinates out of the Immortal Palace courtyard. Because of what happened a few days ago, when Lin Fei brought his people out, the surrounding area was immediately emptied, as if they would be beaten up if they approached. Am I that scary? Today, the Imperial Dynasty establishment was arranged on the sacred mountain square of the Wind and Rain Palace. When Lin Fei arrived, there were many famous people gathered on both sides of the square. After all, the establishment of the Imperial Dynasty wasn't a small matter, but a grand event. They might not experience it even once in their lives. Taoist Di Tian, this way please. As soon as Lin Fei arrived with his people, a deacon disciple immediately came to greet him. However, no matter how Lin Fei looked at it, he felt that this deacon disciple was afraid of him. Looking at that smile, it was as if his parents had died. Lin Fei really guessed correctly. The deacon disciple who was arranged to come was indeed afraid. Several disciples of the Wind and Rain Palace had died in the hands of Di Tian. A person's name was like a tree's shadow. Anyone who saw it would feel uncomfortable. With someone leading the way, Lin Fei followed. It turned out that on both sides of the square there was a high platform. When Lin Fei brought his people over, he saw a few old acquaintances, such as the people from the 3 palaces. They had arrived a step earlier and had already sat down. The deacon disciple brought them to the location and immediately slipped away. The pressure was too great. Lin Fei sat down and found that his seat was not bad. Lin Fei didn't care too much about the arrangement of his seat. He also believed that at this time they wouldn't dare to arrange a seat that was too far back, lest they agitate him and cause trouble. That would not be worth it. Not long after he sat down, Lin Fei felt a gaze on him. When he raised his head, he saw a group of ferocious people. They're from the immortal sex. With a glance, Lin Fei knew where these people came from. Such a ferocious aura could only be possessed by the celestial sex. They had gathered many wicked people from all over the heavens and realms, and among them there was no lack of wicked people on the wicked list. Master, they're from the immortal sections. I know the one leading them. His name is Noble Sword. I heard that he's Hegemon Rongzhan's final disciple. The immortal sex had 3 hegemons. Among them, the strongest was Venerable Rongzhan. There was no one who didn't know this news. Lin Fei had once pretended to be Venerable Immortal Rongzhan's disciple, but he didn't expect to meet Venerable Immortal Rongzhan's disciple today. However, from the looks of it, the other party was hostile towards him. Right now in the immortal sex, who among them didn't feel enmity towards Di Tian? They had yet to vent their anger. Now that they saw Di Tian, they couldn't help but feel enmity towards him, venting their emotions. Lin Fei didn't care. His eyes were on someone else's body, and he couldn't do anything about it unless they made a move. He's Di Tian. I really couldn't tell. The immortal sex were not far from Lin Fei. Noble Sword sat down and also sized up Di Tian. It was this person who caused the immortal sex to lose a great deal of face. They had no way to deal with him. A low-level immortal, Venerable, repeatedly caused the large sex to suffer losses. For example, the 3 Bloodkill brothers. Even now, no one knew if they were dead or alive. The immortal sex were all holding their breaths, and the Overlord wouldn't even let them make a move. Because of this, when he saw Di Tian's true self, His resentment immediately surged. Humph! Sooner or later, I'll have to fight against Di Tian. Let's see who's stronger. Noble Sword was very confident in his own abilities. After all, he was Hegemon Rongzhan's final disciple. The Immortal Court's young Lord Fan has arrived. As the three terrifying auras approached, everyone's gazes were attracted, and their expressions began to change. It's an immortal, venerable level immortal beast. How extravagant! I heard that young Lord Fan has a peerless physique. His strength is unfathomable, and he's the future overlord of the Celestial Court. In the distance, 3 giant green bulls pulled a chariot. They ignored the rules of the Wind and Rain Palace and flew across the sky. Master, this guy is even more arrogant than you. Bao Mie and the others couldn't stand it anymore. Young Lord Fan. This wasn't the first time Lin Fei heard this name. This was the second time. Last time, he heard a little from immortal, venerable Su Feng. He knew that this young Lord Fan's strength was unfathomable, and he wasn't any weaker than himself. Even immortal, venerable Su Feng was afraid of him. He's indeed more arrogant than me. He directly used 3 immortal, venerable level immortal beasts. Moreover, this chariot is a high-level immortal, venerable treasure. With a light bump, it can kill a low-level immortal, venerable. Lin Fei's current eyesight was very powerful. One look at this chariot, and he knew what grade it was. Lin Fei didn't doubt that young Lord Fan most likely had a sovereign weapon. This was a powerful opponent that those small fries couldn't compare to. The chariot slowly descended. It wasn't young Lord Fan who came out, but 2 white-clothed fairies. Their strength was actually at the immortal venerable level, and they were beautiful. Everyone who saw them would be moved. Lin Fei even heard the sound of gulping around him. That was the sound of people swallowing saliva. The 2 beautiful immortal venerables half squatted down and pulled open the curtain of the chariot. A young man in luxurious clothes walked out respectfully under the 2 beautiful immortal venerables' welcome. When this young Lord Fan came out, many people couldn't help but exclaim. This was an extremely handsome young man. He was so handsome that the fairies present frequently gave him flirtatious looks. They were simply infatuated with him, especially his pair of deep eyes. They were like 2 shining stars. Young Lord Fan came out of the chariot. The chariot shrunk and landed in his hand. He stepped down from the void. With each step, a red cloud rose, one after another, until he reached his position. Such a pretentious fellow. This was Lin Fei's evaluation. Not only was he handsome, but he was also pretentious, as expected of the young lord from the Immortal Court. Indeed, pretentious. Bao Mie and the others nodded. It was unknown whether it was because Bao Mie's voice was too loud or because of some other reason, but 4 cold gazes shot over and transformed into 4 large hands that slapped down. You have quite a temper. You even dare to attack people. Bao Mie shouted and punched out with his iron fist. The 4 large hands were shattered one after another. Humph, you're only SOSO. In terms of strength, Bao Mie's strength was extremely terrifying. At this time, probably only high-stage immortal venerables could suppress him. A few mere gazes were really nothing and couldn't pose a threat. No need to attack. Young Lord Fan said indifferently and revealed a charming smile. He's Di Tian, the woman who imprisoned young Lord. This Di Tian deserves to die. After the 2 female immortal venerables found out, they revealed killing intent. The surrounding people all felt a terrifying killing intent. Smelly woman, say it again if you dare. Bao Mie and the others weren't weak. They glared over. Do you believe that I won't kill you all right now? The people in the distance also sucked in a cold breath. Young Lord Fan was really famous. Now Di Tian's subordinates actually wanted to kill him. This wasn't just a normal kind of arrogance. You can try. A celestial sword appeared in the hands of the 2 female immortal venerables. They emitted the terrifying pressure of high-stage immortal venerables' treasures. the sword intent locked onto Baomia like they were about to attack. The people from Wind and Rain Palace didn't dare to go up. The sword intent was too terrifying. They were worried that if they went up, they would be pierced by the sword intent. Baomia had a bad temper, especially when facing two female immortal venerables. Naturally, he wouldn't lose his reputation. If you have the balls, try. Hong, at this moment, a terrifying aura came from the sky. The confrontation between the two was directly dissolved by this aura. A ruler was here. How could a ruler not be present when establishing an emperor dynasty? The first to appear was Tianju's ruler. He also appeared the most. When Tianju's ruler appeared, all the pressure disappeared without a trace. Only the pressure of a ruler was left in the world. This time, Tianju's ruler didn't deliberately release his pressure. Everyone still felt suffocated. A ruler expert was indeed not someone they could offend. So strong! This was the second time Lin Fei saw a ruler since the last time. Hairball in the Realm Lord Stone Pagoda had the combat power of a ruler. Compared to this ruler, Lin Fei could still feel how strong Tianju's ruler was. I wonder how long I can last if I fight him now. Lin Fei was eager, but he quickly suppressed it. Now wasn't the time to experiment. Recently, Lin Fei's strength had been increasing rapidly. He had long broken through to the 6th stage and was close to the ruler level. After Tianju's ruler appeared, Ruler Fengyu appeared too. Compared to Tianju's ruler, Ruler Fengyu's aura was even more ethereal. This Ruler Fengyu seems to be even harder to deal with. Lin Fei didn't use his divine sense. He just sensed that Ruler Fengyu seemed to have 10,000 layers of space around him. He was constantly moving through space, unable to find any traces of him. Unless he destroyed all space, it would be hard to defeat Ruler Fengyu. 2 rulers appeared. This wasn't the end. Celestial Court also sent a ruler. He was dressed in black and was called Extermination Ruler. He had a very vicious aura around him. Celestial Sex also sent a ruler called Boundless Ruler. He was one of the 3 strongest celestial paragons. The 4 rulers were pretty much the same. They represented the 4 strongest powers in the universe. They could decide everything and not be shaken by anyone. Emperor dynasty begin. Actually, although it seemed simple, it was actually very complicated. There was a series of procedures. These procedures were very complicated. For example, there was the sacrifice to the heavens. It was a dazzling sight. In everyone's eyes, it was very sacred and not to be profaned. The entire process lasted for 2 hours. After 2 hours, the sacrifice to the heavens ended and the ruler made his move. Stars, come. Tianju's ruler made a grabbing motion. The stars outside the universe flew over and landed in the starry sky. Many mountains and mountain ranges gathered together. This was where the Emperor dynasty would be built. Chapter 1483. The rulers attacked one after the other. It was a shocking scene, for rulers attacked at the same time. They were just casual attacks, but they contained thousands of variations. Even a casual attack wasn't something anyone could block. In less than a moment, an imperial dynasty was established. This imperial dynasty was extremely huge, shockingly huge. Furthermore, it was created by 4 sovereigns and was filled with terrifying sovereign power. No matter who it was, they couldn't help but feel shocked. As soon as the imperial dynasty was established, the providence of all the worlds in the universe flowed into it. Founding of the imperial dynasty. Just like that, the Skyen sovereign's voice boomed out, echoing out to all the worlds in the universe. It didn't matter which corner of the universe they were in. Everyone could feel the pressure of the sovereign lord. It was almost as if the sovereign lord was right next to them. The hunting immortal beasts lay on the ground, not daring to move. The immortals fighting the immortal beasts all stopped. His voice was filled with a terrifying aura. The ruler's voice didn't just resound throughout the universe. It also reverberated outwards. Founding of the imperial dynasty. Founding of the imperial dynasty. Founding of the imperial dynasty. His voice was as majestic as ever. When these few simple words reverberated, the huge emperor palace seemed to have been reborn. That kind of grandeur was unconsciously felt by everyone. This was the birth of a new imperial dynasty. From now on, the universe was no longer a scattered world, but a truly organized imperial dynasty. Everyone lived under the myriad heavens and myriad worlds, and at this moment they felt a sense of belonging, a very strong sense of belonging. So it's called the imperial dynasty. Lin Fei thought to himself, this imperial dynasty was called the imperial dynasty. The word imperial had many meanings. This wasn't an ordinary imperial dynasty, otherwise it wouldn't have been named with the word imperial. To Lin Fei, all of this didn't have much of a sense of belonging. The creation of the imperial dynasty in the universe was actually a combination of many factions. It was this combination that gave rise to the imperial dynasty of today. When the announcement of the imperial dynasty spread throughout the universe, Lin Fei knew that the Tao of Heaven had blessed the imperial dynasty with providence. For the time being, the imperial dynasty was the strongest, and no one could contend against it. This was a type of great momentum. At Lin Fei's level, he knew very well what this momentum was. In front of power, any struggle was futile. At least for now, that was the situation. The sage emperor dynasty was established. The 4 sovereigns entered the sacred dynasty first. Wherever the 4 sovereigns flew past, there would be flowers and birds everywhere. Hundreds of flowers vied with each other, giving the sacred dynasty new life. It was no longer lifeless like before. The sacred dynasty had become the rising sun. Everyone felt pressured in front of the massive emperor dynasty. This was pressure from the emperor dynasty. Even a realm lord would feel immense pressure in this place. This was a pressure that came from the depths of the soul. Apart from a limited number of people, the rest were not spared from this feeling. So they all became apprehensive, afraid that they would do something wrong. Everyone entered the huge palace, one after another. Everyone understood that there would soon be a change in the structure of the universe. The establishment of the emperor dynasty and the enfeoffment of the world were necessary. The world overlords and the others here were all subjects of the emperor dynasty. None of them would be able to escape. How to gain a foothold in the new imperial dynasty had become something that many people desperately wanted to do. Times were different now. This was the era of the sacred dynasty, no longer the era of 2 scattered palaces. The presence of the 4 sovereigns was the best proof. From today onwards, the sacred dynasty will be overseen by the 4 of us. The Tianjue rulers' words were not surprising at all. This was something that had to be done. With the 4 sovereigns in the sacred dynasty, everyone knew that the competition would become more intense in the future. The sacred dynasty would also become more chaotic. Without some ability, it would be difficult to stand firm. Greetings for holy sages. Everyone shouted loudly. Their voices traveled all the way outside. Rumble, rumble, the heavenly axiom also expressed its approval. Dense immortal chi descended from the sky above the sacred dynasty. The flowers, grass, and immortal beasts living in the sacred dynasty all transformed into ordinary bodies, displaying extraordinary strength. This kind of thing had not happened for a very, very long time. The appearance of the 4 holy sages was recognized by the heavenly axiom. It could be said that this position was very stable. Not everyone could be shaken. The heavenly axiom statement was the best proof. After the 4 holy sages' announcement, the next step was to enfeoffment of the world. This was not a good thing for the realm lords present, especially the realm lords without any backing. Those who knew them knew that this time they might not be able to sit still in their positions. The myriad worlds would undergo a new reshuffle. The reshuffle would also start with the realm lords. Enfeoffment of the world. In fact, It was the division of power between the four holy sages. The realm lords, who had already submitted to them, heaved a sigh of relief this time. Not only did they have an honorable identity, but they also had the opportunity to devour the surrounding worlds. That's right, this was an opportunity to expand. Realm lords without backing, then sorry it was their fault for not choosing a backing in the first place. As long as they were not in one of the four holy sages' factions, they would be cleansed this time. At the same time, their worlds would be devoured and used to expand the world. The myriad worlds used to be a complete world. But after a great war, they were completely separated, and finally, there was the current myriad worlds. Those whose names weren't called had a very bad look on their faces. The realm lords who were sent to other worlds could only sigh helplessly. Resist? They did not have the ability to do so at all. Then they could only obediently accept the punishment. They had been realm lords for such a long time and had gained enough benefits. At least they did not have to worry about being killed. The first realm lords were all realm lords of great worlds, and they were all from the central region. Finally, the realm lords of great worlds were divided, and there were a total of 108 great realm lords. This was a new reshuffle. Originally, in the myriad worlds, there were more than 108 great worlds, but this time they were directly compressed. The originally numerous great worlds, under the leadership of the four holy sages, directly became 108 great realm lords. This was equivalent to a feudal lord. After the division, the status of these 108 great realm lords was not low. It could be said that their authority was extremely high, and at the same time they could participate in the Holy Dynasty Conference. This was the qualification. After that, it was the division of the middle-level worlds. This was also a process of compression. There were many middle-level worlds, and they were all below the great worlds. Now, there were only 108 great worlds left in the myriad worlds, and the middle-level worlds were also going to be devoured. It was unknown how many middle-level worlds would be left. As for the small worlds below, they would be declared to have completely disappeared in the long river of history, letting the wheels of history roll by. There were not many middle-level worlds that were divided. Chapter 1484. 108 Great Worlds. 72 middle-level worlds. The result of this reshuffling was very cruel. It could be said that countless realm lords would lose their qualifications to be realm lords from today onwards. They would return to being ordinary immortal emperors and immortals and lose their illustrious identities. No one could change the Holy Venerable's decision unless you were a ruler. Otherwise, you would not have the right to say that you could change everything. Master, now there's something to do. Among the 72 medium worlds, Lin Fei was naturally qualified. It would be a joke if he did not get his turn. Now, Lin Fei's subordinates could be considered strong. It was not impossible for a seemingly medium world to directly become a great world. The Holy Venerable did not announce it, which was equivalent to a change in direction. This was because he did not want Tion's forces to expand too quickly and suppress the medium world. They are quite wary of me, circling such a large territory for me. Unfortunately, it's nothing much. Lin Fei sneered in his heart. Great metropolis world used to be a small world. The location was not good either. In the myriad heavens, it could only be in the periphery. If it encountered a powerful immortal invasion, it would be the first unlucky target. Now, it seemed to be one of the 72 medium worlds, but in fact it was also in the periphery. If he had not heard about the Battle Wolf group from Venerable Su Feng, Lin Fei might have been happy and cocky. Now he was not in the mood. The territory was big, but it was still not the vanguard. This made Lin Fei very unhappy. However, he did not have the strength to fight against the Holy Venerable ruler. 108 great worlds and 72 medium worlds were divided just like that. He thought it would end like that, but it was not that simple. Next, Tianjue ruler announced another major event. The reason was simple. In view of the chaos in the sacred dynasty, he was preparing to reorganize them to set an example in the sacred dynasty. The 10 great immortal sects were created just like that. The sects in the myriad heavens had always been led by the 2 palaces, followed by the 3 halls, and so on. Now, they directly established the 10 great immortal sects. It meant that in the future, they would be famous in the myriad heavens. At the same time, they would also be top sects. This is the rhythm of wiping out everything in the myriad heavens and realms. Lin Fei knew very well what the 10 major immortal sects represented. This was the extension of the 4 holy venerables' influence, completely dividing up the various realms. In the future, the sects would just have to watch others live. Lin Fei even dared to say that the sects below him would also be divided into levels. This integration allowed the myriad worlds to quickly emerge from the chaos. This way, he would be able to control these forces perfectly. This way, it was unknown how many sects would be taken in. At the very least, unranked sects would be taken in. With regards to this, Lin Fei didn't really have much to say. He was only curious about which of the 10 great immortal sects would there be. If they managed to gain the title of the 10 great immortal sects, their influence would be even more resounding compared to the 108 world overlords. The number 1 immortal sect, Immortal Court. The sky terminus, Hegemen, announced the first immortal gate. When this result came out, everyone didn't seem too surprised. It seemed like it wasn't surprising that the Immortal Court had become one of the 10 great immortal sects. Second immortal sect, Heavenly Rain Palace. Everyone knew that this was a brand new sect formed by the integration of the 2 palaces. Its strength was even stronger than the era of the 2 palaces and was not inferior to the Immortal Court. Third immortal sect, Immortal Sect. These 3 immortal sects were the extensions of the 4 Holy Venerables. Fourth immortal sect, Dark Soul Sect. Fifth immortal sect, Demon Sealing Sect. Sixth immortal sect, Light Sect. Seventh immortal sect, Demon Emperor Sect. Eighth immortal sect, Group of Immortals Sect. Ninth immortal sect, Tower Beyond Tower. 10th immortal sect, Brotherhood Sect. When the 10 great immortal sects were announced, everyone actually knew what was going on. The forces of the 3 halls were already very strong. It wasn't surprising that they had now advanced to the immortal sections. As for the later ones, they were combinations of forces, such as the 4 sects, 5 emperors, 6 demons, and so on. It could be said that these 10 great immortal sects were the 10 most powerful immortal sects in the myriad worlds. Among them, the 10 great immortal sects relied on which holy venerables, but no one knew. They might have cooperated, but no one could say for sure what was going on. After the 10 great immortal sects were announced, the enfeoffment didn't stop after that. After all, the establishment of the sacred dynasty wasn't a small matter. It was a big matter, so there were too many things that needed to be done. It wasn't until night fell that the framework of the sacred dynasty was completed. From then on, everyone was a subject of the sacred dynasty. At the same time, they were also people of large organizations. After the meeting, the 4 holy venerables held a banquet for 3 days. During these 3 days, everything in the myriad world stopped. There were no wars, no fights, and everyone was celebrating. Lin Fei also stayed in the sacred dynasty for 3 days. Finally, he received the decree and returned to the great metropolis world. During this period, nothing happened. For example, the holy venerables summoned him. In Lin Fei's opinion, it was impossible for a troublemaker like him to be summoned. Otherwise, he wouldn't have slandered him in private. Lin Fei couldn't wait to return to the great metropolis world. Time was precious. Lin Fei wanted to leave, but some people weren't willing to let him leave just like that. Tian. Lin Fei led his people out of the immortal palace courtyard. When he came out, he saw a very handsome person. Even Lin Fei felt envious. How could there be such a man? Beside this handsome man stood 2 female celestial venerables. It looked like the two female celestial venerables had bad tempers. Young Master Fan, I've heard a lot about you. Lin Fei wasn't afraid of young Master Fan. In fact, he couldn't wait to spar with young Master Fan. Among the younger generation, young Master Fan was the strongest person Lin Fei had ever seen. It was most interesting to spar with someone like this. He also wanted to know how strong young Master Fan was. I've also heard a lot about you, Tian. Lin Fei didn't believe that young Master Fan would have heard a lot about him. Maybe he had wanted to fight him for a long time. Young Master Fan, you came to see me early in the morning. What's the matter? I'm very busy. Lin Fei didn't feel any pressure from young Master Fan. The more it was like this, the more mysterious young Master Fan was. You're a straightforward person. Young Master Fan had a pair of peach blossom eyes. I know about your past. Your strength has increased very quickly. But in my eyes, you're very weak. You're just an ant among the countless others. I've decided that I'll give you 10 years to cultivate. After 10 years, I'll personally take your life. I want you to live in fear. After 10 years, I'll slowly kill you. This was young Master Fan's intention. At the same time, it was also young Master Fan's domineering way. Recently, young Master Fan had killed several celestial venerables. It was rumored that he could instantly kill high-level celestial venerables. He was the #1 young master of the celestial court, and even the #1 young master of the myriad of worlds. Young Master Fan's strength was unfathomable. This was the common thought of all the celestial venerables. Facing young Master Fan, they didn't have the courage to attack, because if they did, they would die. What bullsh *T young master. You dare to say that you'll kill my master in 10 years? Extermination and the others were unconvinced. In their eyes, their master was the greatest and the strongest. I'll beat you up right now. Extermination and the others cultivated battle formations. It could be said that their minds were very detailed. The 12 generals soared into the sky and formed a grand formation, bursting out with the combat strength of a high-level immortal venerable. A phantom of a giant dragon emerged, whipping its tail at lightning speed. At the same time, a claw pierced through the void. Dragon tail whip, dragon probing claw. These were two powerful killing moves. When high-level celestial venerable strength was unleashed, the surrounding people were suppressed and couldn't move. Too scary. The rumors are true. Tian really has high-level celestial venerables by his side. They actually attacked young Master Fan. I wonder what the result will be. Many immortals outside the immortal palace were trembling. They wouldn't see this kind of attack many times in their lives. Lin Fei didn't stop extermination and the others. In fact, he wanted to see. This young Master Fan was so arrogant. He said that he would kill him in 10 years. Did he really think that he was invincible? Lin Fei didn't think that young Master Fan had the qualifications to kill him in 10 years. Not a bad attack. Unfortunately, it won't work. Young Master Fan shook his head and casually stretched out a finger. It was fairer than a woman's. With a light tap, it was like popping a bubble. All the attacks were quickly disintegrated by this finger. Pung, pung, pung! The 12 generals were all sent flying and smashed into the immortal palace courtyard, leaving behind a large area of ruins. Do you still doubt it? Young Master Fan said calmly as if he had done something. It's as easy as flipping my hand to kill them. High-level celestial venerables weren't that easy to resist. Even 50 mid-level celestial venerables couldn't stop them. Young Master Fan easily disintegrated them. Everyone was shocked. Many people were also excited. Tian had finally met his nemesis. Keep being arrogant. Keep being arrogant. Someone is here to take care of you. And it's the #1 sect, Immortal Court's young master. Extermination and the others were blasted away. They weren't injured, but their chi and blood were surging. They wanted to attack again, but were stopped by Lin Fei. There's no need to attack. Hurry up and thank young Master Fan for his guidance. Extermination and the others weren't a match for Lin Fei. Lin Fei was already prepared. If young Master Fan was so easy to deal with, he wouldn't be young Master Fan. He wouldn't be such a mysterious guy. Lin Fei saw fear in Venerable Su Feng's eyes. My subordinates are always trying to show off and think that they are invincible. I still have to thank young Master Fan for his guidance. I'll let them know that there's always someone better out there. That way, they won't be at a disadvantage when they go out. Lin Fei wasn't afraid of the other party. He chuckled and changed the topic. Your two maids have been dissatisfied with me since the beginning. This is a disgrace to your master. Let me discipline them on behalf of your master, so that they know how to be maids. Courting death. The two beautiful venerables were furious. They were young Master Fan's maids. Who would dare to say anything bad about them? What a sharp golden light flashed past. The two beautiful venerables were cut in half at the waist and fell to the ground. Chapter 1485. Young Master Fan defeated the combined attack of the 12 generals. Who would have thought that Di Tian would not hold back and directly kill young Master Fan's two maids? This was tit for tat. You hate my maids, I'll kill your maids. Only then did everyone realize that Di Tian's dominance was not just for show. It was done with his strength. Whatever others dared to do, he dared to do too. What a good Di Tian. It looks like the rumors about you are true. Young Master Fan's aura was also not ordinary. It will be very interesting to have an opponent like you. Lin Fei also said, I also like an opponent like young Master Fan. I believe that I will personally kill you soon. Perhaps even before the 10 years you said. Kill me in 10 years? Isn't he underestimating me too much? Only Lin Fei could say such words. Young Master Fan had originally planned to give Di Tian time to grow. Instead of being angry, he laughed. Good, this young master is really looking forward to this day. Let's see who will kill this young master, or this young master will kill you. Lin Fei and young Master Fan's first meeting was not pleasant. After exchanging a move, the two did not attack again, but left with their people. But everyone knew one thing. Celestial Court's number 1 young master and Di Tian had a huge conflict, and both wanted to kill the other. This news spread through the entire Holy Dynasty immediately. News of Di Tian having a high-level immortal venerable by his side also spread. On one hand, everyone was shocked by the strength of Di Tian's subordinates. On the other hand, they were shocked by young Master Fan's strength. A casual finger could break a high-level immortal venerable's attack. Young Master Fan was infinitely close to the ruler realm. All kinds of gossip quickly spread. Master, it will not be easy for that young Master Fan to kill us. The 12 generals were extremely unhappy that their attacks were broken. Lin Fei did not blame them. Go back and cultivate well. Try to break through to high-level immortal venerable battle power. At that time, you can combine your formations and crush him. Even though he did not know young Master Fan's true strength, Lin Fei was very clear that he had not reached the ruler realm. Not long from now, that might be the case. Young Master Fan personally wanted to kill him just for Venerable Su Feng. Lin Fei also realized that Venerable Su Feng was not an ordinary person. This had nothing to do with Lin Fei, so he did not want to care about it. We'll talk about it after we return and integrate the surrounding world. As for Huang Xiaolong, he would think about it after he broke through to the sovereign realm. After the people from all sides returned, the vigorous shuffling of the cards began. No one could defy the sacred venerate ruler's order. The process of receiving the order was not complicated and was relatively easy. The 12 generals went out to stand, and all their thoughts disappeared without a trace. In less than a month, the great metropolis world had advanced to the peak of a middle-grade world, controlling a large area. It had truly become a warlord, and it was perfectly justifiable. Lin Fei no longer worried about the matter of annexing the small world, because there was one thing waiting for Lin Fei to do. A notification came from the system. It was about the demon world. Who would have thought that the appearance of the Holy Dynasty would indirectly help me? By annexing one small world after another, I've unknowingly completed the follow-up mission of annexing worlds. It turned out that the system had a follow-up mission to annex the world. Previously, Lin Fei did not pay attention to it until the system sent him a message. Lin Fei knew that the small world mission was completed. A huge amount of experience points was contributed. He was one step closer to leveling up. What excited Lin Fei the most was that he could finally create a demon army. This matter had been on Lin Fei's mind for a long time. Ding! Captured demon activated. A new instance dungeon opened, and Lin Fei once again entered the instance dungeon. This space was filled with the aura of killing. The aura of humans. I can smell the aura of humans. Delicious human flesh. The demons began to scream, and their eyes turned scarlet. The moment Lin Fei stepped into the space, he saw that he was on a blood-red plain. Suddenly, hundreds of powerful auras grabbed at him. The sky was filled with attacks of blood shadows. So many demons, ha ha ha. The attacks of these demons were very strong, but to Lin Fei, they were all his subordinates. Get down! The huge hand formed by the power of an immortal slammed down on them from the sky. Boom! This slap was like a mountain pressing down on them. The ground shook. The hundreds of demons that were clamoring earlier were all pressed to the ground, and a huge pit appeared below. As expected of demons with powerful bodies, even a low-level immortal venerable wouldn't be able to withstand the power of my slap, but they managed to withstand it. Lin Fei liked these powerful demons, and the more the better. It's a pity that the system only gave me the qualification to capture an army of 100,000 demons. Lin Fei took out the demon summoning flag from last time and waved it at them. One after another, the demons were sucked into it. This was an array flag used to control them. As long as they entered, they would leave a mark. Moreover, this flagpole had another advantage. If the demons were injured, they could return to the space in the flagpole to recover. During this time, Lin Fei used his divine senses to check inside and saw a funny scene. The demons that entered were originally very arrogant, and there was even a rank 1 demon living inside. The rank 1 demon didn't have the combat strength of a juggernaut, and it couldn't withstand the aura of a juggernaut. It grabbed and ate a dozen demons, and the remaining demons all became obedient. There were many demons on the plain. Lin Fei didn't hesitate to capture them wantonly, and the number of demons in the array flag space started to increase. It quickly broke through 10,000, followed by 20,000, and then 30,000. The number kept rising. I'm still short 30,000 demons. With 70,000 demons in hand, Lin Fei could imagine how great the influence of this force was. It wouldn't be a problem to sweep through the current middle-level world. You're the one who captured this king's subordinates. A roar came from under the blood-red sky. It was a black mass of demons, and there were no less than 100,000 of them. The leader was a 300 feet tall demon. When it saw Lin Fei, who was capturing demons, its huge wings turned into 2 long black blades that slashed through the air. Boom, boom, boom. Everywhere the black blades passed, the plains collapsed. Not a single place was left intact. Juggernaut demon. Lin Fei's reaction was also very fast. He punched the black wings with both fists, and sparks flew everywhere. Sparks flew, and everyone retreated. This was a big boss. It was even stronger than the demons from before. The power of Lin Fei's 2 fists didn't stop the black wings' attack. At least it slowed them down a little. They attacked again, and Lin Fei was sent flying, smashing into the plains. Even a juggernaut's attack isn't that strong. Lin Fei's physical body was unbelievably strong. The opponent's attack only caused Lin Fei's blood to surge, and he suppressed it with a light pressure. Now, Lin Fei wasn't that weak anymore. Black armored demon, come out. Lin Fei directly released the black-armored demon from the devil, summoning Flag. Fight for me. Although the black-armored demon's combat strength was only a high-level immortal venerable, Lin Fei wanted to stall the opposite rank 1 demon. A lot of blood? What was there to be afraid of? I slash.